They say moo. She from the Mooria. Hello, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Patrick, and this is the Hierophant, and I'm listening to my peaceful meditations today because Mercury is like 4 degrees in Cancer, which means it is closing in on my Mars. And it's also trining my Sun. And one time somebody told me that like a Mercury Sun trine, especially in water signs, makes you like very protective. I'm like, oof, I can kind of see it. Oh, look. And then we got the heart chakra. The heart chakra just came out. The heart portal, sorry. Um, yeah, so I mean, some stuff is going down in the world right now. If you, I mean, all over the world right now. Um, Apparently, the locusts that were in Egypt have moved up to India, and so I just asked one of my buddies, how his family's doing, and he was like, one of the coastal areas got hit by a storm. The locust is moving up, and then of course everything else that's already going on, and different things are popping up in different places of the world on top of everything that's already happening right now, right? And so yesterday I've been doing real good to be calm, but yes, see, I do this. I call it a Libra thing, where I try to be like super. I just try to numb myself, I guess, to certain people. And yesterday, I was just like, you know what? I ain't doing it today. So I made my little social media posts. And I'm kind of surprised because I've never done that before. I usually just wait until it blows over. Oh, there's our heart portal again. Oh, what's there now? Oh, oneness. Okay, all right, love it. I usually wait until it blows over, but not yesterday. So, ooh, I was like, when I'm typing it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really doing this. And then though, like, there was a whole lot more I could say, but I was just like, you know what? It's not about that. Like it is, but it isn't right now because I'm not too much the type of person that like let's talk about this, let's discuss this. Like me, I'm like no, see, because like what we're not about to do is come into the situation where I'm going to give you like, I'll give you my opening statement, you'll say your opening statement, and then we go back and forth, and there's a little bit of a rebuttal. Ooh, exiled. Had to hit that unfriend. Ooh, for the first time. I was like, but yeah, and then like we sort of debate on like whether or not I should have, certain rights, freedoms, and the ability to have air in my lungs. I'm like, no, like I'm not, like I don't. And then people be like, oh, you shouldn't be so blah 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 blah. I'm like, you know what? If we're talking about, if cake is better than pie, which flavor of ice cream is the best, like we can sit down and have a debate. We can have a discussion, and we can talk. But if we're talking about like, you know, anything related to like the lives of actual people, then in my mind it's like, why would I sit down and discuss this with you as if it's something that's up for debate? Like just because you treat it like it's a questionable whatever doesn't mean I'm gonna sit down and do it with you, because like no, you can go have that conversation with somebody else. It's just like, I don't know. And I guess I was kind of sort of talking about it in a way last time I was on, which might have been the day before yesterday, when I was like, you know what, you can go find another mirror because I'm not doing this with you. And it was very much that energy. So I'm trying to calm down now. See, I wasn't even too much going to say something. The Dreamscape card came out. My dreams. Yesterday, the night before last, I had some super emotional dreams. And it was after everything had started like going off. Right? And I was just like, not in my bubble, but like it happens. And so I was like, it's interesting that, I don't know, for some reason, I just feel like we have an opportunity to move forward in a way I feel like we have an opportunity to make more progress now than we've done probably like at least all of recorded history in so many places. And that's really interesting. But so I didn't too much say anything, but then I had a dream that was so emotional. And then we have trust. Oh, trust. This card is beautiful. Trust in the dream. Bottom of the deck is the Celestial Assistance card. Trust in your angels and your guides. Look at those cards. Those are beautiful together. Okay, I'm not going to do too much of this because, you know, but it was like good emotions and bad emotions, just like crazy extremes though. Um, and then in my last dream, I guess I don't too much have to go into the details, but like I woke up crying like 2 or 3 times. And then after the last time I woke up, I was just like, I'm not going back to sleep because I don't know what's happening, but my emotions are just like, whoo. Um, and then last night, I dreamed in Chinese, and I haven't dreamed in Chinese in a very long time. I still dream, well, I haven't dreamed in Japanese in a while either. I feel like overall I've dreamed in Japanese more than I've dreamed in Chinese. And I've been having like lots of like classroom settings, school settings, lots of, I've had a few assignments. Adventure. Oh, wow. I don't think I've seen this card too much. I haven't been the most adventurous in my life either. It's innocence, play, and discovery. Oh, wow. What's at the bottom of the deck? At the bottom of the deck is forgiveness. So, forgiveness and adventure with the promise under forgiveness. Now, forgiveness was coming out a lot. And then last night, yeah, night before last, what did I dream about? It was something different. It's like every night the theme of the dreams have been different, but they've all been like interesting or intense in different ways. Uh, but yeah, it's been 7.5 minutes. I'm gonna just breathe for a second, listen to the Peaceful Meditations playlist. I've shuffled these cards a little bit. I'm gonna come over and shuffle the Wild Unknown Tarot a little bit. Even though I'm probably I'll do it both ways. Which means I'm gonna have to grab another deck. Oh, I don't want to grab the SKT. I'm gonna have to grab the SKT. But I'm kind of gonna do this like I usually do, which is like I'll pull one of the Magical Dimensions Oracle cards and activators, and then I'll read the things. So this card, this is. Guess I'm not gonna say what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do it. Ooh, the Emperor and the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. Now the Emperor is with the Son of Pentacles, so we go from 7 to the Sun, and now the Emperor's with the Five of Pentacles. So he was going somewhere. So this time I'm gonna do the cards first. So I'm gonna do the Oracle. I'm gonna put these face down. I'm gonna pull out one card, and then I'm gonna grab the SKT and go off of the keywords at the bottom, look for an energy, and then we'll put it all together and see what it says, right? Okay. Let's do this for May 31st of 2020. Whatever wants to come out, that would be for our highest good, for the greatest potential would be great. Or just something that would get us through whatever we need to get through. Out comes the moon with the Father of Cups. Okay. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Wands. I saw the Ace of Wands earlier with the Moon card. They both came out at the cut. Bottom of this deck is Inspirational creation. We got inspirational creation with the Eight of Wands. So coming into an age and era of creating beautiful things that also have purpose. But that's the inspiration behind the creation. It's inspired by a purpose. That King of Swords is at the top of the deck. I forgot he was up there. Archangel Commander. These Kings of Swords have been stuck in me. They kind of sort of chilled for a little bit. But now they're back in reduced force. Not full force, but you know. Alright. Oh, he was at the bottom of the deck. I had the bottom of the deck face up for some reason. Oh, cut into that Fool, the initiate. Now these I go looking for energies, right? So these just get a random shuffle. It's like, I mean, it's all quantum. Somebody knows something I don't know yet. And so they put it in whatever order it needs to be in. I'll give it a 3 cut and then a 2 cut. And then we'll be done. I'll pick a card. And then we will proceed from there accordingly. Alright. Bottom of this deck is the champion, Six of Wands. So we have the Ace of Wands, the Six of Wands, and Inspirational Creation. Kind of sort of love that energy. So whatever, like I said, like whatever we're led to create in these times, it's like they're going to be blessed because of the space that we're moving into. It's almost like we are, because I was saying, it's like they're hiring. They're doing like bulk hiring because they're opening up something brand new. Management has changed hands. But at the same time, it's like, they're trying to get inventory. And so they're like going to local artists and whatevers and blah, 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 blah. And so creation is blessed. Sacred creations. Okay, let's see. One card would be fantastic to come out. Oh, there we go. Ooh, I haven't seen you in a minute. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Throat Portal, which is number 40. The Throat Portal is the throat chakra, and it's speak your truth, courage, and suppression. So, in my case, at least, the time for suppressing my truth is over. And, it's been a process for me that I've been learning. Okay. I want 3 cards face down, please. I don't want to see what they are. Oh, Ace of Swords. Stop. I just said I don't want to see what it is. Then just pull 3 cards. Okay, we'll pull this one. We'll pull this one. And then we'll pull the one close to the bottom, but not the bottom. So this one right here. Left at the bottom is the Six of Swords. So Six of Swords from the Six of Pentacles, or from the Six of Wands. So moving forward victoriously, the card that came out is Empowerment. See that? There you go. Empowerment speaks to grounded, strength, and stamina. This is number 13. Grounded. I'm going to go for the 4 of Pentacles for grounded. 4 of Orbs. Interestingly enough, right? For strength, I'm going to go, oh no, the 9 of Wands is kind of beat up in this deck. I could do the 9 of Wands for stamina, though. I kind of want to do minors this time. So grounded is definitely 4 of Pentacles. Strength. What's a strength energy? What's a strong energy? The 5 of Swords? See, but that's excessive, though. Okay, I guess I'll go for it. So the 4 of Pentacles for grounded, the 5 of Swords for strength, and then for stamina, We're gonna go with the Knight of Pentacles, the Knight of Orbs, because I mean, you know. Okay, so let's go. Ooh, Six of Wands, the Lovers, and the Two of Cups, and the Three of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles all at the bottom of the deck, followed by this Knight of Pentacles. Okay, I love this. We're gonna just go through this little run of cards right here, real quick. So, bottom of the deck again was that Six of Wands, right, which is a card of victory, and then we have the Lovers and the Two of Cups. So this could be romantic, but I just feel like this is like picking the most fulfilling option out of two. And it's like you're picking something. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. It's fulfillment beyond fulfillment. And then we have this Three of Pentacles. So not only does this sort of partnership or this fulfilling choice lead to establishing something that will lead to material abundance, but then the partners that we see coming out, the King and the Queen of Pentacles, the Archangel of Mysteries, and the Ebony Shield. Like, what? What? And then I guess there's a baby, right? Because you got the King and the Queen of Pentacles with the Three of Pentacles. Three is about babies. And then we have this Knight of Pentacles, which is the stamina I was looking for. But the way I do this is I find the first card and then I shuffle it up to get the other ones. So, and then after that Knight of Pentacles is the Six of Swords. And we already had the Six of Swords down, which I was like, okay, that's real cute. That's real cute. That's cute. That's so cute. It's so cute. But yeah, I thought that was cute. So if you can't tell, I'm looking for the Four of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles, Four of Orbs, the Four. And it's interesting that I don't know. I don't too much necessarily feel the Four. Well, I can feel the Four as grounded sometimes, but I'm just feeling it as grounded today. Oof. These two knights are facing each other. Here we go. Oh, that's interesting. So this is grounded. This is very interesting for grounded. Because, well, okay, all right. So maybe I should have went with those cards. So I'll give this two shuffles. Then I'll cut it up some more. And then I'll be looking for the Five of Swords. Okay. First card at the bottom is this Ace of Pentacles, followed by the Six of Pentacles. So we have an Ace and a Six again, this time of Pentacles, with that Healer, the Star right under it, and the Contender, followed by the Emperor. So, interesting. A whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. What am I looking for? The Five of Swords, the Hector. Ooh. Oh, there he is right there. Okay. All right, all right. This is so interesting, y'all. This is interesting. This is real interesting. So that Lovers might have been about love. Potentially. Potentially. And now I'm going to be looking for the Knight of Pentacles, Shining Quarry, Knight of Orbs, Power and Authority of Earth for the stamina. Oops. And then I will read the entry, and then I'll cut it in half. Boom. First card out, of course, the card at the bottom of the deck, the Archangel Commander, followed by the Shining Dew, Knight of Swords, followed by the Blind Seer, Two of Swords. So, hey, that's three swords with the Knight of Cups right in the middle. Squeezed in the middle, smack dab in the middle, squeezed in the middle, smack dab in the middle. Was that a Chips Ahoy commercial? I don't remember. Kind of tired, y'all. I ain't really been sleeping that well. And my dreams have been my dreams. Oh yeah, that's the dream I had a few days ago. So a few days ago, I was mad in my dream. And then the night after that, I was sad and happy. And then sad. And then more sad. And last night, I don't remember a lot of my dreams, but the one I do remember was in Chinese. So, you know, you know how that goes. Or maybe you don't. I've seen, okay, here we go. I was about to say, I've seen all these nights. And this night, so Judgment is going to be the card. Well, we have the Queen of Cups and we have Judgment. I'm going to put Judgment on top of the Queen of Cups. So Judgment will be the card left at the bottom of this deck. So we have the Six of Swords and we have Judgment with the Truth Portal down here. And then the overall card is Empowerment, right? So from the Six of Swords to Throat Portal and Judgment, this is going to be someone finding the courage to have a voice. Mercury is in Cancer right now. So, and then it's going to retrograde in Cancer. So people will probably definitely be speaking what they're feeling. I want to do the Wild Unknown first. No, I don't. Am I going to I Ching all of these? Sure, why not? So do I want to do the Wild Unknown first? No. Okay. I'll just kind of go with it and flow with it here, especially lately when I'm like, I don't know, like I'm just like chilling. And then something in me is like, go live. And I'm like, but what will I talk about? Like, there's so much happening right now. Like, just go live, go figure it out. I'm like, okay. So we're just figuring it out as we go along. I've been living my life that way for the past, I don't know. And honestly, for me, I'm accustomed to it now, fairly, but I never would have thought I wouldn't think as much. I never would have thought that I'm not thinking as much as I am. Like I'm overthinking things a lot less, which is refreshing, honestly. um, but yeah, a few nights ago, I had a dream where I was furious. I was like, I can't believe this person did this to me. And then they talking and spreading my business. And I'm like, legally, sir, you're not allowed to do this. Trying to make me feel bad. I was like, see what you ain't gonna do is try to turn the situation back on me. Like, no. And then I'm walking and I passed somebody. I was like, oh, I ain't seen you in a minute. Hi. And he likes the Land Before Time movies. And so the next day I'm scrolling on my timeline or my feed on YouTube, and then it's like someone watches all 14 of the Land Before Time. And then I sent a message to a mutual friend. I was like, oh my gosh, have you heard from him lately? Like, I just saw him in my dream last night. I just saw him in my dream last night. In passing, it was so weird. I was a little less angry for the few seconds I saw him. And then I continued about my business. So number 13, empowerment. 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 I'll do my best, y'all. So, empowerment resonates to the grounded strength of the blessed divine feminine. This sacred ray births a mighty tower of Earth Mother Spirit, born of the earth element, hardy and resilient, but endowed with the heavenly angelic powers of unwavering love. This motivating ray encourages stamina and reminds all universal and dimensional warriors of light that divine love is the most powerful force of all. The oracle interpretation of this is strength is necessary right now to persevere. You are being asked to step forward, move ahead, and take action with more powerful energy. Call upon your divine feminine side to assist you with grounding and bringing balance to your situation. Divine love and magical energies are supporting you, and it is a time of action. You need to have confidence and belief in yourself.
and be solid in your choices. The companion crystals are Boji Stone and Moonstone. The companion essential oil is Clary
Sage. I actually read that with like little to no sort of pauses. Did you catch that? All kinds of things are changing in the world right now. If I can read, let me stop. I can read. It's just my eyes that are healing. Anyway, let me continue. So that's interesting. It's a call to action. Like what? A call to action, but it's rooted in divine love. And like divine love. See, divine love, divine feminine love. Well, okay, feminine love, motherly love, the love that a mother has for her baby that she will like nurture it, provide for it, care for it, defend it, fight it, protect for it. It's like all of the above, right? And it's a call to action, but it's a call to action out of love. And there's a way that you can do something where it's like, you know what, we can do better, we can do better, we can be better, y'all can do better, y'all can be better. Everyone can do better and be better. Sorry. I'm eating some peanuts right now. I went to the store last week. Whatever my body is craving when I go to the store, I just kind of get it. And so, low key, there's been a few sugar weeks. But last week was like a veggie heavy week for me. And then I got peanuts too. So I'm loving it. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. But I feel like that's perfect for Mercury and Cancer, low key, if you think about it. And we're about to be shifting into an eclipse season with the solar eclipse happening. Oh, okay. I was like, why am I thinking of Cancer season? With the solar eclipse happening when we shift into Cancer, I feel like I said in the past, there are things that we've been wishing for, wanting, hoping, praying for, and working towards. And when everything fell apart and stopped and gave pause, it was a moment for us to individually reflect on our own lives and other things. And now it's like other things are happening. It's so interesting that other things are happening now that the world is like coming to the stage where we're trying to like slowly reopen. Some places more prematurely than others, we'll just say. But then again, it's like, take that out of it. So places are opening and things are resuming. And we're in this spot where things have just stopped. And so there's almost this moment of like, do we really want to get on this ride again? Like we literally like like when it was shut down, we were like, it wasn't necessarily favorable conditions for anybody. But do we really want to get on the same ride again, or do we kind of sort of want to hop in a different line for a ride that is more fun and inclusive for everybody? You know. And with that divine feminine love, Cancer could be taken to be the divine feminine love of the zodiac, and Leo could be taken to be the divine feminine masculine love of the zodiac. And I say Leo instead of Capricorn because honestly, like, no shade to Capricorn, but Leo was more of that love than like a lot of signs. Um, you don't necessarily see it when you're looking at the shadow of it in other aspects, but Cancer and Leo, the sun and the moon, kind of sort of divine mama and pop of the zodiac. No, I would say that Capricorn might be more of the father in that more sort of like rigid role, but like divine masculine, like daddy, energy and not like daddy. Like that's Leo, you know, because it's more loving. It's more loving. It's more caring, more kind, more compassionate. It's there. It's encouraging. It's warm, and it brings a light, right? And it's like I don't know if Cancers and Leos necessarily get on in the real world, but the energies are just like that's home. Like fourth house is the home, fifth house is like the passion, the creativity, the fun, right? 10th house is like work, career. So anyway, as we're coming into this divine feminine season that I am feeling as oh, and I literally just talked about that. Feeling it as Cancer season, and then the last time I think I said that Pisces was the moon and the hangman. I can't remember if I said it's the moon and the high priestess. If I did, that's a mistake. Pisces would be the moon and the wheel of fortune. I might have said it right, but again, you know, that's the wheel of fortune turning in ways that you don't even know. Like, what? I didn't even know the wheel was turning. That's Pisces energy. I was daydreaming. I missed it. When did I get here? What? But yeah, and then like as I was saying, we're coming into a sort of chariot season backed by that high priestess because so the chariot is the card of Cancerian energy. Cancer is ruled by the moon. The card of moon energy is the high priestess, right? Pisces is the moon, the high priestess. The moon is Pisces, the high priestess is the moon. But I feel like that speaks to this sort of like inspired divine feminine action that is based in love. And then we just had inspirational creation with the Ace of Wands and the Six of Wands. And we go from inspirational creation to this empowerment, which is gorgeous. All right, I rambled enough. So when it comes to the grounded aspect, um, centered around the Four of Pentacles, is the Queen of Wands, the power and authority of fire, the Scarlet, no, the Golden Shield. So it's the Golden Shield, the Conservator, Four of Pentacles, Four of Orbs, and then the Ace of Scepters, Sacred Fire, right? Yeah, Sacred Fire. This is interesting. You got the Queen of Wands and Sacred Fire, which was like, this is why I was like, this is more of a inspirational creation energy. Um, but again, this that could just simply be it's like not only is that sort of a self empowerment and that Queen of Wands energy, but it's creating and acting from that space of empowerment. That's connecting with the self, connecting with the soul, connecting to the truth of who we are outside of the us that we've been programmed to be, for lack of a better word or phrase or term. But when we create from this space, I feel like this is what's going to be what really moves us forward. And the card is empowerment. Like, who's more empowered than the Queen of Wands? Like, that's literally her thing, right? Clarinda, hello. Good morning to you. It is quite evening over here, but good morning. Uh, how are you? How are you doing today? Let's see. I'm gonna just I Ching. But yeah, I mean, like when we're talking about empowerment, who's more empowered than the Queen of Wands? Like, you know, she is that queen. She knows who she is. She knows her past. She accepts that you're not going to use it against her. Like, she is fully her, flaws and all. She accepts all of who she is, and she moves forward with that sort of confidence. And it's almost like since she does that and accepts that within herself, she becomes this sort of beacon of it in the world, which is gorgeous. Good evening to me. Thank you. I don't that it's my mother and me. She would I say good morning to her sometimes and she'll be like, good afternoon. It's afternoon. I'm like, this is the first time I'm seeing you today. Just take the good morning. But good morning and good evening to me, yes. Okay. So yeah, it's almost like it's this inside out kind of sort of feeling. Um, and authenticity has been so huge. I'm actually gonna look. We're just gonna look and see where the sun is because why not? Actually, oh, it's right here. Okay, I was gonna grab a different deck, but it's literally right here. Oh my gosh. Oof, 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 oof. Yeah, yeah. This was a good choice. This was a good decision. What's the card saying today? So the oracle card of the day today is empowerment. And empowerment speaks of us tapping into our divine feminine energy, getting access to that divine love, and then using it's basically like living and creating from that space. It's also a call to action, but it's a call to action through that filter of divine love. And I was like, oh, wow, how fitting. And so there's also, so it's grounded, it's strength, and it's stamina. It's also Mother Earth spirit energy. So like Gaia, the energy of Gaia also coming through. I know, right? So I've been feeling for a lot. I've been seeing the sun a lot. And maybe since the lockdown spread, I think it was a lockdown spread actually when it started. Um, when there was this call of authenticity, there's this call for us to be our most true and authentic selves because we're coming into a time where it's going to be necessary. And the way the planets are transit in my chart, it's put me in a place to do it. So, but I think that's also the thing with this Queen of um, Wands here. And so, since I've been feeling the sun is authenticity, I went looking for the sun, and it's Justice, the Chancellor, the Warrior, which is the sun, and then this Archangel of Healing, Queen of Cups. So we got the Queen of Cups, and we have this Queen of Wands. Now, sitting under the Queen of Wands is Justice, and then under the Ace of Wands is this Queen of Cups. And so it's like there's also, I guess, this healing energy that, I mean, love itself is a very healing energy. And I'm kind of sort of at the point in my life where I can testify to that, which is weird. It's not weird, but it's just a point that I never thought I'd reach, I guess. If I'm being completely honest, never thought I would find it. But I guess for me personally, when the last Mercury retrograde happened in Pisces, and then things happened, I was like, I've invested too much emotion and time and energy into the situation to not learn whatever I need to learn from this. And I feel like it would do the duration of all of that a disservice if I didn't move forward in the ways that I'm being led to move forward. So, I mean, it wasn't necessarily that easy, but it was definitely a motivating force and factor for me. Yeah, right? Like we got what? Wait. I said that's the Queen of Cups. That's the King of Cups. I'm so sorry. The archangels are kings. The shields are queens. So that's the Queen of Wands with the King of Cups. And I feel like I like their energy because the King of Cups and the Queen of Wands have a very similar energy when it comes to compassion and caring for people. And where the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups differ is that the Queen of Cups is like she'll sit there and she'll cry for you, and I don't want to say she'll throw you a pity party, but she'll sit there with you. The Queen of Wands, it's like she'll do it a little bit, but then she'll be like, okay, you need to pick yourself up, you need to dust yourself off, tap into your internal strength because you're stronger than this and it's time for us to go. Right? We're not just going to sit here and wallow. Like, no, why would we do that? You're amazing, you're awesome, it's time you realize who you are and step into that awesomeness. Don't just sit there crying. Right? The Queen of Cups would be like, oh, I feel your pain. Let me cry with you. And then this King of Cups is like, yeah, like, I understand. But, ultimately at the end of the day, some things in life, I mean, it doesn't make them any less difficult, of course, but some things happen to get us to go other places. And not every relationship or not everything is meant to last forever. Not everything is for forever. And then, but then, so there's a healing element that comes with him. Oh, this is so interesting. This is only one. Um, but then there's also this Justice card, right? So the Justice card under that Queen of Cups brings balance to the situation. And the balance that it brings to a situation is an understanding of the impact of whatever this emotional situation was or is, right? And so it's like the message of the Queen of Wands, the Golden Shield, doesn't change. The message is still the same, but it's a little more tempered, right? It's like the same, but now the Queen of Wands is giving you time to grieve. She's giving you more time to grieve whatever you've needed to grieve, to process through whatever you needed to process through before you pick yourself up and before you go. With this being the empowerment energy, again, I'm kind of sort of feeling it kicking off when that eclipse season or when the eclipse kicks off in Cancer. But of course, we're leading up to it now. And it's better to be early to a party than on time or late because, it's like if you get your work done early, you don't have to take it home. If you get your work done in school, you can just play games and be outside all day. Like it's not homework if you finish it in class, right? Let's make our homework classwork. Now that could just be me rushing folks, but I mean, it is a homework assignment, so you don't have to finish it in class, but you could if you want. If you want to. Now, again, I'm not rushing anybody because at the end of the day, we all do it in our own time. But you could not have to take it home. And then sitting under this sacred fire is this Archangel of Healing. And so I feel like if this is a work, if this is something, I feel like it's going to be maybe it'll be a healing outlet. Maybe we're going to be bringing healing to a situation that needs it through something that we do. But the Ace of Wands, more than anything, speaks to the fire that burns within us, right? And it speaks to our soul on some level, that inextinguishable flame that, what's the word? It's the fire in the engine that keeps the train moving, right? But it's coming into this, see, you see what the Archangel of Healing is doing? It's creating that healing balm, that healing salve, or salve, Salve. How do you pronounce that word? I don't know. It's a balm. I like balm. It's creating this healing balm. And so I feel like it's also putting us in a space to increase our own healing ability. And maybe one of the most healing things about us will be our stories, will be us. And that came out with the Ten of Wands before. It's like, you've gone through all this so that you can then turn around and help other people go through it. The healing that we're doing will then turn around and heal the collective in energetic ways, but also give us the opportunity to heal the collective in more direct ways as well. But that's not going to happen if we're not operating in our authenticity. So regardless of what the situation is, it's time to step up and face it. And if you don't face it now, it's almost like you can do a little bit at a time now, rather than because as soon as we enter Cancer season, that's like Chariot. That's like, okay, we're moving. You're not moving. Okay, you got left. The Chariot's taken off. And Chariot doesn't know when it's coming back. Let me stop. All things in their own time, right? But sometimes you got to make a move. So this is going to be Thunder Over Fire. Thunder Over Fire, that's the energy of the Eight of Wands. So now I'm going to look for the Eight of Wands. And I'll show you why. And I'm hopping to a different deck too. Unless it's not in here. If it's not in here, then I won't be able to show you. I'm feeling like I got so much energy right now. I was just so tired. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Okay, so the Eight of Wands is not looking like it's in here. How cute would it be if the Eight of Wands was right here? Hold up, wait, give me a second. No! Oh man. Okay, so the Eight of Wands isn't in this pile. Um, you gotta feel it to heal it, exactly. But in your own time. Exactly. I mean, it's like I say you're in your own time because I don't necessarily I don't want to feel like I'm rushing people, you know what I mean? And at the same time, it's just like I don't want to be like, oh, like you'll never get this opportunity again. But it's like every time I see the Five of Swords now, besides the time I went looking for it today, every time I see the Five of Swords, it's like you're gonna be victorious any way you do this, or there's a potential to be victorious. There's an opportunity to be victorious through many different routes, but there is one route that is better than the rest, and from the remaining, there are some routes that are better than others. And to get the best or one of the better outcomes, it's going to be more important to act sooner because then after that you're kind of sort of and it's like you're not but it's like you're picking the best of whatever's left after everyone else has gotten their pick, and it's like or you could just sort of get on it now and be done with it. Move on to the next thing, but again, all things in their own time. So the top is thunder and the bottom is fire. Thunder over fire? Ooh, this is opulence. Opulence. I love this. I told y'all this would be blessed. It's gonna be blessed. Oof, I'm loving this. But who's gonna do it though? That's the real question. So this is actually number 55, master number 55, which is interesting. Right? So when it comes to grounded, being grounded in this divine feminine love energy, we have abundance to opulence, height of advancement. This is feng. From feng shui feng? Maybe. Honors bestowed. There is progressive movement and there is clarity in the mind. You are in the position of great influence. You are in a position of great influence as this queen of wands with this ace of wands. Hopefully you get some authenticity to you. You rise like the sun at the highest point in the sky. Be mindful when abundance becomes opulence. When abundance becomes opulence, the king will fall. Every age of enlightenment comes to a decline. A period of tremendous power is upon you, but bear in mind that this too shall pass. Embrace the tides of change, come what may. So, this is like abundance in excess. And what would this mean? And then we have the Fool card. The Fool card is the card that came out here, which is all about. So if you're brand new to this, this could be some new abundance coming in. But I think the warning here is this. It's this Queen of Wands, right? And Wands is the element double five. I actually saw 555 on a clock. I've been seeing 555 quite a bit lately, honestly. I was like, "Oh, a great change is coming! I love it." Because some things honestly need to change. It's time for things to change. Um, but this is the warning right here. And wands is a suit of desires, and then you have the shield, right? So it's like beware of corrupted desire. I feel like you won't have to worry about that as long as you're in your authenticity, right? I don't necessarily feel the queen as humble, but maybe the king of cups, that archangel of healing, is going to be coming in to sort of remind us to stay in the flow of things. And it's a reminder to stay in the flow of spirit. We also have this justice card right here, which could speak to a balance. When this abundance comes in, beware that it doesn't turn into opulence because, and that's something else I've been saying kind of sort of semi frequently lately, is that like when abundance comes in, if you're not, and it doesn't even have to be material abundance, when whatever we are desiring and whatever we feel that we would be the most happy in the having of, when that comes in, if we are not solid within ourselves, we run a higher risk of losing it. Because a lot of times we look for something, be it a someone or just money in general, we're looking for it because we think it'll make us happy. But things and other people, they can't make us happy. They can enhance our happiness, but they can't make us happy. Um, like happy is something that you kind of sort of already have to have within you. And it's like, they can unearth it for you. They can help you find it. It works better when they're enhancing what's already there. 444 and 1111. Loads of black crows. Ooh, 444s and 1111s. What's it mean, Clorinda? What's it mean? But yeah, it's like beware of excess. Um, and stay true to yourself. Some people, when they come into a certain amount of abundance, they kind of sort of change, right? The Queen of Wands is saying, don't change. She's the shield, right? Keep your desires pure. And with the King of Cups, Archangel of Healing, it's like, if you do come in, if you do get whatever, right? It's like other people and things can't fill voids that we have within ourselves. Like that stuff needs to be filled before, because like let's say you get an abundance, let's say you get all the money but you're still not happy. So now you're getting the cars and you're getting the houses and you're doing that and it makes you feel good for a while, but then that void creeps in, right? And you're like, why do I still feel like this? Like I have literally everything I could possibly want and I have the ability to get anything that I don't have. So like, why is this void still here? And then you turn to substances or you turn to other things, and then it goes downhill. Yeah. So that's the kind of sort of warning here. It's interesting though, because with this Fool card, like I don't know, I'm seeing like a drastic increase or something that is drastically different, something that you've never quite had before. This is brand new. Something about this is going to be brand new. I mean, maybe you've never been you before. I've never been me, not like this, and I love it. It's like, sometimes it's just like, because honestly, at the end of the day, I don't really care what people think about me or say about me. But in order to like manage conflict and contention, I just like, I tried to like shrink myself a little bit or a lot of bit and not like do whatever. But now it's just like I don't know. I don't have the capacity to care anymore. And I never really had the capacity to care, but I don't know. I'm not interested in appeasing people anymore, because it's like I don't know. I've I guess I've gone through something too significant to continue to hold on to that. So for the situations that have helped me reach this point, I say thank you, because without you, this would not have been possible. But I will definitely bear the torch and carry it forward with me. With this, I guess this is also something that evolves as we grow and evolve and change. Because I said that, I'm seeing it that way now. Don't dim your light for no one. Exactly. Thank you, Clorinda. It took me a while to learn that lesson, and honestly, it kind of sorted out. This kind of started out of frustration, because like I'll dim my own light, but I don't like for other people to dim my light. But anyway, this isn't about me. Mercury is in Cancer right now, Clorinda, so I'm trying to be careful. I'm trying to be careful because my Mars is in Cancer, and Mercury is like 5 degrees away from my Mars. So I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to be cool. I got my peaceful meditations playlist playing. I might have to turn it up. Sometimes I forget that it's playing. So yeah, I'll turn it up because that's the point. I'm supposed to know I'm listening to it. Yeah, but with that Ace of Wands, the Sacred Fire, I think it's also about moving it forward. And they say that absolute power corrupts absolutely. But I've always been of the belief that if money corrupts you, you're just the type of person that would be like, if you would have had, like, if money corrupts you, then your character, your whatever, is kind of sort of not that solid. Because if all I got to do is give you a few dollars for you to like turn into this, you've always been that, right? If a position of authority turns you into that type of person, you've always been that type of person. You just didn't have the money or the power or whatever to be that person. Like it amplifies what's already there. It's not like it creates it out of nowhere, right? And so I don't know. Anyway, this is just being grounded. Oh, this came out under grounded. This came out under grounded for, and so in this empowerment will lead to success in many aspects and areas and sectors of your life. But it's for us to be grounded within ourselves, and it's for us to be grounded within the truth of who we are, because the truth of who we are is that one incorruptible piece of us, right? It's the part of us that can never be changed. It's the us that sits at the center of the wheel while everything else moves around it. It's the eye of the storm that is our lives. And while we've been connecting to spirit and everything like that, a lot of this inner child healing and stuff that we're doing in that manner will also be a sort of bridge to help us get to this point, right? I kind of want to pull another one. I kind of want to pull another card. I'm gonna grab it. I'm grabbing the Pride Tarot. So hey, I'm using 3 tarot decks and an oracle deck. Yeah, and it's like, some people can attract wealth, but then they can lose it just as quickly as they attract it, right? And I don't know. It's a very interesting time. I'll say it's an interesting time right now because I feel like the closer we get, I don't know. Okay. Oops. That's a whole lot of cards. So does anything want to come out to clarify this? Just a little extra. Okay, that's a whole lot. A little extra layer. 4 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck as these cards fell out. The 4 of Pentacles was the card I went looking for, so I'm going to take every single card that came out. Oof. Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 cards for 6 cards on the table. So we're actually going to do it like this. This will be 1. This will be 2. Come on. This will be 3. This will be 4. This is 5. And this is 6. So the card that came out to clarify the Golden Shield is the 6 of Swords. And the 6 of Swords is already at the bottom of the deck. Oh, you can't even see it. The 6 of Swords has come out like 3 times. A little clarification, a little clarification, right? So the 6 of Swords is coming out with this shield. And I feel like this, okay. So what this is telling me is that, and I'm going to put these back in the deck and reshuffle them out. If I need, I'm not going to keep them out. But the 6 of Swords is telling me that the things that we want now are no longer the things that we used to want. And there's going to be a temptation that comes when the wheel begins to turn to go after a lot of the things that we used to want. If you haven't already been in a situation where you've been presented with an opportunity to go after something that you want, or if you haven't been in a situation where you're presented with something that you actually want now that archangel healing has taken place, but you weren't able to, ow, oh, I just scratched my lip. I almost cut my lip right now. I need to cut my nails. Ooh, that kind of hurt. um, I've been hurting myself a lot lately. Like I bumped into a shelf and oof. Anyway, I'll heal. It's fine. If you haven't already found yourself in a situation where you've gotten something that reflects a more pure desire, but then we're also faced with something that we used to want, there's just this energy like we need to put distance between the things that are good for us and the like our more pure desires, our more true desires, and the ones that we used to have back when we weren't as healed, back when we weren't as whatever we are now. Because that's sort of like the defense that we're going to have. I feel like the defense is just like recognizing that like this isn't something that will satisfy me anymore. And then I feel like that's going to sort of keep us from getting lost in that opulence when we're supposed to be in more in the realm of abundance, because greed can be just as much of a distraction. So, you know, and I feel like that would be an intersection between greed and gluttony, being materially insatiable. The message is for you. Like, I know this is for me, but also at the same time, oh, goodness. Oh, golly. Um, because this is something that I've been learning a lot lately as I've been manifesting opportunities or as I've been given opportunities. I'm like, mm, I used to want that a lot. And this opportunity means a lot to me. But this opportunity doesn't line up with who I am now or with the direction that I'm going. And it wouldn't make sense for me to take this opportunity when what I'm actually manifesting is something completely different. Like I didn't exit this space to then turn around and pursue something that aligns with it. You know what I mean? But I will definitely take the refresher. With this Four of Pentacles, we have the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands. So this is the third time we're seeing the Ace of Wands. I've seen the Ace of Wands in every deck on the table. So whatever this new idea is, whatever this new flame is, this is what we're going to be protecting. And not only are we protecting it, but it's going to be something for us to be grounded in. This may be related to love, potentially some kind of love, because what we're supposed to be grounded in is that divine feminine love energy, according to the card of empowerment, right? Oh, and this is a wand. So on the table right now, I have two aces of wands in two different decks. I got this ace of wands, and then I got this ace of wands. Like two aces, two fires, and we're in Gemini season. Yes! I mean, honestly, it's been kind of sort of a thing for me, you know? And I feel like we all sort of like hit different whatevers. But for me, like I don't know if you were here that one day when I was did the whole pile thing and I started crying on the live, but like when I said that I'm willing and ready to change literally every single aspect of myself and my life to not go back to the place I was in, like I meant it. Like I'm 100% serious about that. Anything and everything that needs to change or transform to get me where I'm going, I don't care how attached I am to it. If it no longer serves and if I have to leave, I'm going to leave because there's no going back. Like going back for me is not an option. Not only is it not an option, it's not even a desire. Um, like no matter how difficult whatever I'm facing is, like I'd rather face this and get through it than go back. Um, but that's just how I feel. So I feel like whatever this is, like not only is it something worth protecting, I feel like it's something that also grounds you. Um, it's like a rich volcanic soil here. So I love that. And it's like whenever you're kind of sort of grounded in that and rooted in that, it's like the soil, it's warm enough that it kind of sort of burns away all impurities. Oh yeah, that's when I was on my retreat in February at some point. But yeah, I was like, I'm not going back. Like, it's just like not an option. Like, my mental health right now is the best it's been in my entire life. And it's been this way solidly, consistently for the longest it's ever been in my entire life. And there's too much to lose to go back. But it's not even like, is there too much to lose to go back? It's just like I don't want to. Like there's nothing for me there. There was nothing for me in the place that I just left. Um, so it's like, what would I be going back for exactly? I don't know. Now on top, ooh, well, I already saw it. So we have the Five of Cups on top of this Ace of Wands. So on one side we have the Four of Pentacles on the Ace of Wands. Now we have the Five of Cups on the Ace of Wands. So if this is a tale of two aces of wands, a tale of two burning sticks, um, something is going to require a walk away. And we already have distance with this queen, but it's like now we have more distance with this Five of Cups. And so if this is a present energy, like energies can happen whenever. This could be past, present, or future, or never. If this doesn't resonate for you, I guess you'll find out. I'm sorry. Um, but like that speaks to, that's like a cauterizing. That's what that feels like. That feels like cauterizing. And whew, I could cauterize my lip. Let me stop. Because I just cut my lip, right? Um, two burning sticks side by side. There's something in the past that's been cauterized. And I've never had anything cauterized myself, but it looks painful. But ultimately, it's to prevent further damage, right? And when you heal from it, you may have like a burn mark, but it's better to have that than to continuously go around with this gushing wound that is prone to infection and all kinds of things, right? And a lot of times when you cauterize something, it's almost because it's something that needs to be done in that moment and there isn't another solution, as long as, at least as far as how it's coming in me. Yeah, it's painful. Yeah, I'd imagine so. But I'm like, well, depending on the wound, would it be less painful? I don't know. Um, but that may be why there may be an element of hesitation here. And it's almost interesting because this Five of Cups isn't the Eight of Cups, right? And so I feel like in some ways that means that whatever this other Ace of Wands is, it's already been presented to us in some ways. We're about to come to a Mercury retrograde in another water sign. So prepare. Venus is already retrograde. Um, ooh, this is bright. Ooh! One second. I forgot all about that. What was I talking about? What was I saying? What was I talking about? No other option. Yes. I think this has already been presented because there's no movement. Like the movement that happens is this sort of separation between old egoic desires and new egoic desires. So old karmic desires and new dharmic desires. Desires that align more with our chosen path of action. Get lost all over again. Oh, more water for us to swim in. But yeah, I feel like whatever this is, it's already been presented because there's no movement. We have this Ace of Wands, or no, because it's like this isn't the Eight of Cups. What does that mean? We have this Ace of Wands, and we have a Five of Cups. The Eight of Cups would tell us to move in that direction. The Five of Cups is telling us to shift our perspective. Am I gonna have to pull another card, or I could just continue? I'll continue. I'll pull the card under it because to see if that clarifies. Oh, guess what card just came out when I was talking about authenticity? The Sun. This is a card that came out in the lockdown spread in the pre-lockdown season. This is where I started feeling authenticity. And then here we have this Archangel of Healing that is putting us in our authenticity because it's healing all of the other stuff. And so this Archangel of Healing is sitting under this Ace of Scepters, Sacred Fire with the Five of Cups. So that's all about our perspective shifting. And I'll tell you one more thing. If there's an option, if there's something that would require for us to diminish our light and to minimize ourselves to fit in, it's not for us. If you can't show up to whatever this is and be completely 100% you, it's not for you. Because, like, you wouldn't have gone through all of that healing to then turn around and not be all of who you are. Like, you're not going to get that fulfillment. You're not going to get that fulfillment in any other way. Because it's not like if you have to hide parts of yourself, it's not truly fulfilling. And then guess what? You're probably going to be running to other substances to fill those voids that are created because you should be happy. I should be happy in this situation. I have everything that I asked for, everything that I wanted in the past. I was like, well, guess what? You changed. You're not the same as you used to be, and you're not going to find comfort or happiness in the things that you used to either. So it's either get with the program or stay miserable. All of the water in my chart has been evaporated by the sun. I'm just playing. But I mean, honestly, it's kind of sort of that simple. Like the Five of Cups is here. It's a matter of shifting your perspective, and it's a matter of understanding that to continue to seek the things that you used to seek, if you're expecting to find some kind of fulfillment there, you may not find it. Sitting on top of this Sun card is the Four of Wands. So we go from the Sun sitting on top of the King of Cups to the Four of Wands sitting on top of the Sun. And I'm just going to go ahead and look at the bottom of this file. Ooh, I told y'all. I told y'all this is a tale of two sticks that are on fire, didn't I? And then we have the Lovers sitting on top of this Justice card. The Lovers, the Four of Wands, and the Sun on the bottom. The Six of Swords, the Ace of Wands, and the Five of Cups up top. Since this Ace of Wands is something that has already been presented to us because we're not moving towards it or away from it, the Six of Swords came out with the Queen of Pentacles, with the Queen of Wands, which is all about our authenticity, right? This may be something that we didn't appreciate in the past. right? Because then overall, like the Fool card is what's sort of sitting above all of this. So the Fool is brand new, right? And so I feel like on the one hand, it's like, it's not for us to necessarily get upset with ourselves for, because it's like, if you've never been exposed to something before, how are you supposed to know what the worth and what the value of it is? Now, if you were in touch and in tune with, let me not go there. I told you Mercury is conjuncting my Mars right now. I might not be able to read. Nice Patrick has left the building. This is the cycle. This is the season that I'm in right now. I'm in a spicy season, so, and I'm being asked to not tone it down. So if it gets a little too spicy, then I don't know. It is what it is right now. It is what it is. Um, but it's like, it's to expect. It's understandable if this is a brand new situation that we didn't know how to whatever in. But it's like, I feel like we're going to be coming into a moment of clarity. We're going to be realizing that some things align with us a lot more than other things. And when we realize that alignment, it's for us to step up to the plate within ourselves, to become those who are worthy of whatever it is being offered to us. And it's not necessarily that we have to prove it's not necessarily that we have to prove our worth to anyone else. We're going to be proving our worth to ourselves. Because remember, I don't know if y'all remember when I said way back in maybe Pisces season when the Beyonce card came out, and I was like, it's these two scales, and we're going to get these opportunities that if our self worth is too low, it'll be weighted like this. We'll think it's too heavy and we'll sabotage it. We'll run away. If our self worth is too heavy, let it blow right off the scale. And we're only going to accept things that are about sort of within our range. And the Justice card did come out again with that Lovers, right? And so it's like, ultimately at the end of the day, we're going to be making the choices that we feel that we're worthy and deserving of. But with this Fool card, and with that Archangel of Healing, and with the Golden Shield, and with the Sacred Fire, and why not with the Justice card, if you're getting this brand new opportunity, even if it is something that you would have thought is a dream, something that you'd say you want, but you'd never actually accept, even if it's something like that, like, know that you are worth it. If you were not worth it, you wouldn't be given this opportunity, right? And use that to fuel you moving forward into your authenticity and becoming more of you. Like, use it to motivate you instead of allowing it to scare you. Okay, Clarinda. Oh, bacon. I should go bake something. I kind of wanted to bake some cookies the other day, but then I was like, I'd rather just give my grandma the ingredients and ask her to bake some cookies. All right. I mean, this is a very powerful season we're coming into. Ooh, my nuts just fell on the floor. But yeah, no problem. No worries. Oh, my tissues just fell on the floor. Okay. All right. So that's just the grounded part. Now let's move over to strength. I do want to give this a few shuffles though, because if I pull from these cards again, I do want to clear up. I'm putting these cards back. Ooh, this is gonna be good. I love this. It's like, come on. Come on, come on. Hey, hey, hey. What is that? Okay. So now in the space of strength, see, I saw these cards and I was like, oof. So in the place of strength, we have the Eight of Wands. I've been feeling the Eight of Wands energy as divine intervention a little bit lately, but then it kind of sort of morphed into divine understanding. And with this sitting in the space of strength when it comes to empowerment, I'm going to say this is more of a divine understanding. And it's a trust. Like I just said, like, you wouldn't be getting this if you weren't worthy of it. And so, like, if you know that this is for you, understand that this is for you. But the you that this is for might be a you that you're not being. Because if the you that this is for is the better version of you, as long as you continue to operate in a way that doesn't align with this, you may feel that you're not worthy of it and you may continue to sabotage it. So, oof, okay. Can I not move my hand? Goodness. So we have this Eight of Wands, the Sharpshooter. We have the Hector, Five of Swords. And then we have the Four of Wands, Demiurge. So the Four of Wands came out again. And you know, the Four of Wands is all about celebration of milestones. And so this Sharpshooter is pointing over here at the cards for stamina. She's pointing like literally right up at it. So whatever this is, this strength is funneling right into whatever you're going to need stamina for. Excuse me. But when it comes to the strength with the Eight of Wands and the Four of Wands, this is the strength to go after what it is. It's like not only the strength to go after what it is that we want, but with this being a space of divine understanding, and then with the demiurge, you have two figures. You have the warrior and the holy person, right? Not right. Let me show you. Let me show you. I will show you. You have the fighter and the lover and the fighter, right? The archer. Oh, look, she's an archer. You see that? Can you see? Can you see her bow and arrow? I'm like 99% sure she's an archer. Yeah, it's like literally in her hand. Like, do you see that bow and arrow that she got? And then we have the sharpshooter right here. So this could be cooperation, divine understanding. This could be cooperation between you and spirit. Now, there is an element here, since this is strength, of knowing when to fight and knowing when to not, right? And so, with the strength, with the wheel card here, I feel like whatever this wheel of fortune is, it's for us to be strong enough to not get swept up into everything is wands so far. Queen of Wands and the Ace of Wands. Now it's the Eight of Wands and the Four of Wands, and then preview into the next cards that came out. There's another Wands card. There's a lot of fire here, and fire is typically a masculine element. And then we have empowerment, but empowerment speaks to an element. I guess empowerment speaks to all elements. Um, I would say it's a fire element for sure because you know it's getting things done, but it's also an earthen element, or there's an element of earth to it because it literally said in the card, but also because empowerment gives us a ground to stand on. It becomes a foundation. But there's also an element of air to it when it comes to how we think of and perceive of situations and perceive of ourselves in those situations. But then the self love of empowerment brings in the water. So all elements are kind of sort of represented here, but what we're getting the most is fire, right? But with this Eight of Wands and with this Four of Wands, I feel like that speaks to like the wheel of fortune, a minor wheel of fortune will turn as long as we continue to turn it. And whenever we get, like it said, like, you know, um, all great ages of enlightenment fall, and a kingdom that rises will be destined to fall. It's like as soon as we get caught up in the stuff, as soon as abundance turns into opulence, then we're going to be off of this wheel and everything is going to come crashing down. This is something that, again, because this Eight of Wands is a divine understanding. And there's almost this Six of Pentacles energy here. So I'm going to go looking for the Six of Pentacles. because it's like, you know, what we give into it is what we will receive. And that's the divine understanding of the situation. And here's the six of pennies. Ooh, six of pennies this time is a choice. It's a this or that type of thing. This is a this or that type of situation. So we got the seven of swords, the rogue, the giver, the six of orbs, and then the bread of life, the ace of orbs. So the bread of life is going to be sitting under the demiurge, and the rogue is going to be sitting under the sharpshooter. And so I feel like that's kind of sort of reiterating that if we get swept up in the momentum, if we get lost in everything that is happening and changing and swirling around us, we're going to force ourselves off the wheel. And I feel like ultimately the thievery and deceit that is going to be going down is us robbing ourselves of what we could have had potentially by falling into the distraction of everything that we have sort of around us. And so, again, if our focus is mostly external, and if it's external to the point that we're not giving ourselves that fill up with the King of Cups, Archangel of Healing, if we're not filling our own cup as we're pouring out and as we're sort of manifesting and attracting things, then we run the risk of that void. And I want to, I'm going to go looking for it. Now I'm going to go looking for the hollow void. So, because this is how I pull cards now, apparently. Sometimes when I feel it, I do it. So, hey, if you don't like it, you could feel free to go elsewhere. And this hollow void comes with a message, and the message will be this one. Oof, and it's another four. Okay, nice. It's the four swords. Four swords, four of cups, four of pentacles, four of wands. So all of the fours are now out in this deck. All of the fours are out. All of the fours. And I love, okay. So on top of the hollow void, I'm actually going to put these cards back in the deck. No, I'll keep them out. So with the hollow void came the page of wands. So we have the Queen of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the Page of Wands. Spoiler alert, the Knight of Wands came out with the stamina card. That's the other one that's on the table that the sharpshooter is pointing to. And now here's the page. So now we kind of sort of know why it's pointing from the page to the knight. So it's the Stronghold of the Flame, the Hollow Void, Four of Chalices, Knight of Chalices, Page of Chalices, Page of Chalices, Page of Wands. Let me slow down. Let me breathe. Page of Wands, Four of Chalices, and the Eight of Swords. And then the message of this is this Four of Swords, the Convalescent. And every time I see this page, it's like the tale resumes, right? Now, so another thing is the tale being whatever story came to an abrupt end. And then we have the Eight of Swords on the other side. And again, this is what happens if we get lost in everything. So it's like, you know, the tale resumes, but then it's coming to this immediate pause. It's coming to an immediate stop. It's like, you know, we're all geared up, ready to go, but then we're not receiving the call of action. And with the angel in the window, that's going to be us having to wait longer. And then over here, we have this captor. That's us sort of being prisoner to our desires. But it's not even like the things that we desire anymore. It's the things that we used to desire. It's the older, more basic egoic desire that we would be falling prey to. And again, that's what happens if we kind of sort of get swept up in the wheel, if we get swept up in the success, if we get swept up in the feelings, if we forget the reason why we actually sort of began the journeys that we began in the first place. And there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming in, a lot of good stuff coming in. So I feel like it's going to be very easy to, if this resonates for you, I feel like I got to clarify because, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, oh, and then here's this Wheel of Fortune while we're talking about the Wheel of Fortune, but the Seven of Cups is under this Wheel of Fortune. So beware of false options. And it's not even a false option. I feel like that Seven of Cups is more of us maybe sort of seeking fulfillment I'll pull it up because I'm talking about it. The Five of Swords is under this, and this is the pile for the Five of Swords. Right? The Hector, he's right here. The Five of Swords, and if you don't believe me, here's the Five of Swords right here. Not that I need you to believe me, but this is confirmation for me that I was supposed to dig this deep. And that I'm not just like running away wildly. You know what I mean? Just like when the Four of Cups came out, or the Four of Pentacles came out. The Four of Pentacles didn't come out. What came out? I don't remember what came out. Yeah, the Four of Pentacles was at the bottom of the deck. That was my confirmation last time. But with the Seven of Cups, that's us seeking fulfillment in all of the areas except for the right one. It's this way, sorry. So when this movement begins to happen, when the wheel begins to turn, it's like, remember the one thing that brought all of this in. Because everything else has an illusionary nature to it. And I feel like what's the most illusionary about that is like, and that's something that came up in my dream last night. I wasn't going to talk about it. I mean, it was in Chinese. So I'm like, what? It's like subconsciously my brain knows Chinese a lot better than I consciously learned it. So, but she was talking about a great work in Chinese, which is interesting. But it ties into this perfectly. Hold on, wait. I recorded it. And I was gonna I remembered it because we repeated the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It was like a classroom setting. And we repeated the same thing over and over. So when I first woke up, I remembered it. But as I went about my day, I forgot. But I was like, ooh, let me record this before I forget. So I ain't put it in the Google Translate yet to see what would pop up. But she explained it in the class. And I just want to play it really quick. I have my AirPods in, so you won't hear it. But it's fine. I'll see if I can play it and then repeat it for you. She was like drilling it into my head so that I would remember when I woke up. And then she started calling on people to say it. And I was like, oh, I hope she don't call on me. And she did at the end of the dream, but then she was explaining it to me at the same time. Okay. One second. What? Hold on, I said it too fast. Yeah, 等候我超市 with Nina or something like that. I remember it was like 等候我超市. And then at the end, it's like Nina, but Nina is like, what about you? And she's like, yeah, 等候我超市 with Nina. And I was like, what does that mean? But then when she explained it, she was like, there was a certain part that was like someone who walked away, someone who left. And then she was like, da. And I know what da is because da is great. And then she was like, just like the word for the president is da, whatever she said. But in my mind, I was like, I thought president was something else. But I might have been thinking Japanese instead of Chinese because I took Japanese in college and Chinese in high school for 1 quarter. I had 1 quarter of Chinese. It wasn't even a whole semester, I don't think. Actually, it might have been. It might have been a whole semester. 1 semester Chinese, a few semesters of Japanese. And she said that one part was someone who walked away. And then the da was big or like great. And then she was like, it was like a great work. Like someone walked away from their great work. And then the ni na at the end is like, what about you? It's like this person walked away from their great work. Like, what are you going to do? And I feel like it's very much this energy. And I'm glad that dream tied into something because I'm like, why? Like, y'all know how it's Nina. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, but we kept saying it over and over and over. So when I woke up, I remembered it. And then I recorded it. So I'm glad I recorded it. And then I remember her explaining it to me at the same time. And so I feel like that's very much like stay focused on the reason why you started this healing journey and stay focused on the direction that it's taking you. Stay focused on what it is that you're actually doing. Because I feel like this is going to be a very, very rewarding work. And as long as you're on the path, where did I just put those cards? Oh, I feel like as long as you're on the path, okay, as long as you're moving in the direction that you're supposed to be moving in, this wheel of fortune will continue to turn. And that's what that eight of wands and the four of wands is like, that's the wheel that we turn by doing whatever. And that's the divine understanding that comes into the turning of this wheel. But this is a four of wands major wheel and not the major wheel of fortune, because with this minor wheel, like this is something like the four of wands is a card of celebrating an achievement or an accomplishment. An achievement and accomplishment is something that we do. Now, this major wheel, this wheel can turn by itself. Like you see night and day, this wheel speaks to cycles. It's not up top. Sometimes that thing moves and you don't even know it's moving. But down here, like this is us. And if we get lost, because this wheel is going to be turning in lots of directions and a lot of things are going to be latched onto this wheel. And if we get lost in the things that the wheel is bringing us, we're going to fall off. But the key with all of those aces of wands, the key is to be focused on why we started this journey in the first place. It's not why we started the journey, because the reason why we started the journey was for many things, but it's grounded in why we started the journey and how the journey has evolved and changed over time. Keep your eye on the prize and don't get distracted by all of the things that comes with it. The things is to reward you for the work that you're doing. So if you stop doing the work, you're not going to have the things, right? This isn't like the 3D world. Like, once you get a job and you make enough money and you buy something, it's yours. Like, let's say it's a car payment or a mortgage. Let's say it's a mortgage, right? Or rent. We're renting the things. And if we stop paying the rent, it's going to get repossessed, right? But as long as we're doing whatever we need to be doing, we will be paying our rent. So again, it's like, don't be the person who abandons their great works because they got lost in whatever. I didn't know what that dream would mean, but here it is right here. Yeah, don't hold. Nina. Yeah, don't hold. Nina. Like, what does that even mean? I'm gonna say it into Google real quick. And that's just like, let's see if Google pulls up anything. Because I know what Da is, and I know Nina, because she didn't have to teach me that. But she was like, don't hold. Nina. Yeah, don't hold. Da. Yeah, da. Don't Nina. I don't know what it means. I'll do it later. I'm not gonna focus on that right now. I already said whatever I needed to say. But yeah, it's like the tale is resuming, but it's like it's resuming so that we can continue where we left off. Now, depending on the reason why it got paused in the first place, you don't want to sort of enter that same territory again. So if you lost focus on whatever you were supposed to be doing, it's to stay focused. I feel like that's maybe part of the reason why it got paused. At the same time, like the Archangel of Healing had to come in, things needed to be eliminated, work needed to be done, blah, 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 whatever. But when it comes back, and I feel like that's going to be another reason why it's so important for us to be in our authenticity with that Sun card that came out. It's because, like, when we're completely and fully being the person that we've healed into, if something comes back and it no longer aligns with that, we're going to know it. And I feel like one of the dangers is, you're falling off the wheel for something that no longer aligns with where you're going, which is exactly what I said before with that Queen of Wands that came out with the Justice card. Now I'm gonna pull the I Ching around the Eight of Wands and the Four of Wands. I'm gonna read it, and then we'll see what this is talking about. And then I'm gonna reveal the Wild Unknown Tarot card to see if that sort of shifts the direction or adds something to the flavor. Savor the flavor, baby. I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. But I want something good to eat now. Lots of thunder and fire. This is double thunder. Okay, all right. Now we're getting into double thunder territory. Whew. We went from thunder over fire. Now this is just straight up thunder. So we're in the clouds now. right? The thunder over the fire, that's where the thunder hits the ground, it strikes a tree, it does something else, and then you get fire, and that's the thunder over the fire. But now with double thunder, it's like we're in the clouds. This is the element of the divine understanding. We're elevating it a little bit, but we'll see what this says, before I go too far off, wherever I'm going, you know. Double thunder is a sharp turn. This is number 55. Ooh, a sharp turn too. That's what that Four of Swords is. It's like you doing good, you riding the wave, and then all of a sudden, whoa, everything is falling apart. What happened? Everything was just perfect. Everything was just good. Everything was just grand. It was great. And now it's all falling apart at once. It's like, yeah, because you allowed yourself to get distracted. And you fell off the wheel. You got to keep yourself on the wheel. Unexpected sharp turn, a great thunderstorm, and this is Jun. The shock of fate has hit you. Circumstances seem beyond your control. In the wake of cataclysm, your will is weakened. You cannot allow that to happen. While you cannot control the circumstances, you can control your mental response. Learn to maintain your composure in the face of cataclysm. Do not be terrified by the thunder and lightning. The outcome is not as bad as you dreaded. Regain your inner strength. And this is with strength. I love it. Regain your inner strength. You must persist onward in your endeavor, in spite of blows. In time, you will fully recover what you have lost. It is still auspicious to go forth on your endeavor. And I love this. I love that because that clarifies me picking the Five of Swords for the strength card. Because I was like, oh, the Five of Swords, that's kind of brutal. Like the Five of Swords for strength, I feel like that's like, overkill. But that's why it's overkill, right? Because regardless of the situation, it's for us to continue moving forward. And that's why the Five of Swords is out. Okay. I was like, okay, all right, I get it. But yeah, exactly what the card said. So we may be in a period of recovery now if we fell off the wheel, and this may be more of a precursor to, because a lot of this is going to be kicking off around, supposedly a lot of this is going to be kicking off around the start of Cancer season with that solar eclipse. And I feel like a little bit of this speaks to what we can do before that happens, right? It's because we have the Four of Wands down here, and then we have the Wheel of Fortune up there. And I feel like with the Four of Wands down here and with Divine Understanding, with the Eight of Wands, with the Sharpshooter, it's like and that's the thing with Divine Understanding as well, keeping our eye on the prize, focusing on the service that we give, the ways that we serve people, and not on the monetary aspect of it. Focusing on the service, being service focused. And that's the divine understanding. Like I said, this is all in the clouds, right? The thunder hitting the ground and sparking fire, that was on the ground. Now we're in double thunder, we're in the realm of the clouds, and that's the realm of this divine understanding of, like, as long as we continue to pursue that, we're going to be turning this wheel. And I feel like there are ways that we can begin to turn the wheel down here so that when the bigger wheel turns, it pushes us even more forward. And so I feel like this is kind of sort of in that in-between time. I don't know how many days. I mean, Gemini season just started, but we're almost in June now. With the Four of Wands and the Eight of Wands, that could be anything between 4 and 8 days, right? And the first lunar eclipse is happening on the 5th. So that's within 4 and 8 days. But this could be also a 4 to 8 day turnaround. Or it could be like 8 days of dedication to something before you start to begin to see it roll out. So I don't know. I don't like getting into astrological timing or tarot timing necessarily. I try it sometimes, and then it's always like interesting because a lot of this is unknown anyway. Or maybe it could have been something that started 8 days ago and then 4 days before that. You know what I mean? Who knows? This could be Aries. Well, no, because this is Sagittarius and that's Aries. Well, I guess then, yeah. Anyway, when we work with the divine understanding, I feel like we more naturally work in the realm of delayed satisfaction rather than instant gratification. And there's an energy of delayed satisfaction here. But I feel like a lot of the delayed satisfaction is like if we choose to do things early, but then it's like we're going to be reaping greater rewards. And just like the I Ching yesterday, when the Four of Wands came out, I believe it was that one, might have been IC3 or the day before yesterday. I believe it was IC3, but it might have been two or one. Don't quote me. It was one of them. But it's the one I get all the time, or I've been getting a lot lately, which is like, it would be better for you to refuse rewards now, to forego reward now, and to continue to serve, and then to reap even greater later. Right? It was like those who guard and protect the nation should not accept favors from those that they guard and protect. And that's when I always say, like for a lot of, and I don't know who watches me. I just say whatever I feel like I need to say to check that box on my own little list. I said it. Okay, I'm good. I ain't got to worry about who watches this. I ain't got to worry about who don't watch. I just got to worry about saying whatever I'm supposed to say because it helps in my own learning and growth process as I am seeing and discovering within myself. But it's like, if you can, a lot of people make it their livelihood and people still got bills to pay. People still got foods they need to eat. But it's like, if you can forego a little bit, then it's like, maybe reduce the prices or maybe come out with this package where, people are probably needing assistance and guidance. A lot of people now more so than ever. And, if they come to me, I'm going to be like, well, you should already know. You should, be in touch with your own internal guidance and you shouldn't need me to tell you anything. Now, if you're looking for confirmation, maybe I can do something for that for you. But at the same time, if you're coming with a confirmation bias, then is this really helpful for you? No, for the folks with platform. I mean, I guess we all got a platform, but I've been on here, so hey, I'm checking my boxes. But anyway, it was about if you can sort of forego a little bit. If you can be a little bit more, and again, it's within reason and it's whatever you can do. But it's like if you can drop prices, if you can be more available or a little bit more accessible in this time, then do it. Be of service now, and then you'll get rewarded even more later. And I think it's very much this Four of Wands because in this deck, the Four of Wands is a wheel, right? And that's why I keep saying it. The Four of Wands is a wheel. And so it's like, the little bit that you do now to push that wheel, when the larger wheel begins to turn and move, you're going to be rewarded even more for it. And that's sort of this element of divine understanding here. And that's the realm of delayed satisfaction rather than instant gratification. And I don't think I need to pull any Pride Tarot, so I'm not going to pull any for that. And the Wild Unknown card is the Star. So we go from the Fool to the Star. We got two majors on the table. I love it. I love it. And the Wild Unknown, speaking of the Wheel of Fortune, since the Wheel of Fortune did come out in the Wild Unknown deck after the Six of Swords, this is the deck that I use for the Jupiter retrograde in my retrograde stories. And Jupiter is heroically the Wheel of Fortune. Like, that's Jupiter. And so Jupiter is, I mean, the Wild Unknown is bringing these majors. Like, we go from the Fool to the Star. And with the Star card, it's like maybe a lot of the great work that we're going to be doing is being a light. I mean, and that's literally this energy over here. It's funny. I almost feel like these are switched and flip flopped a little bit because this, I feel like, was speaking more to like all of this. And the grounded phase was speaking more to like being a light, being a star, operating in your authenticity. And then because the Archangel of Healing came out, it's like, maybe the things you healed from, you can impart some of your wisdom or experience to help others heal, blah, 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 whatever. That was a little more service. And this is a little more rewardsy. But I feel like a lot of this came out with a warning right? Of like, continue to keep your eye on the prize and don't get lost in everything else. Because as soon as you stop working, everything it's like the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Spirit giveth and spirit taketh it away. The universe gives and the universe also, like the universe always has receipts. So the universe can take that back at any time and get its refund on it. And so it's like it could give you. And I just cut my chin. I need to cut my nails. I'm just like, maybe I need to be careful with how I point this finger. um, it's like the universe can gift you something. It still has the receipts, right? So it could take it back, get its money back, and then buy somebody else something with it. Because if you're not doing what you need to do, like, there's no reason to reward you because you're not doing what you need to do. Um, but ultimately, at the end of the day, this is about empowerment, right? So, maybe we're empowered ourselves to empower others. And everyone has a different way of delivering a message. And, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to say this because it came to me to say, if you are someone who is interested in getting into the business of light working, number one, you're probably sort of already doing it in ways in your everyday life, maybe, potentially. Number two, not everyone is necessarily supposed to have a channel. Um, or there's like a different audience for, I'm just going to say there's a different audience for different people. And whenever you are being of service again, do that authentically, and then you will generate an audience that will vibe with that authenticity. So then you don't have to worry about being somebody that you're not and, blah, 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 whatever. Now there is, I guess, if you are trying to do this as your livelihood, right? Then there is a certain pressure to be palatable and digestible by a larger group of folks. It's like monetization and partnerships and things like that is something that you seek to have, right? But again, I feel like as long as you are sort of doing your work, it will come. So there's a balance there. But with the star card, I feel like not only is that wish fulfillment, but it's to not get lost in that wish fulfillment at the same time. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be great. But how do you serve? So it's still about the work. Don't get lost in it. Don't get caught up in it. And at the same time, it's like, it's not for you to be so focused on work that you don't enjoy the things that are coming to you, but it's to not make the things your focus, right? Because I mean, like, we're supposed to enjoy our lives, right? Like, we're not supposed to be like broke and miserable. So it's to enjoy the things that come with everything, but at the same time it's to not get so lost in it that you then neglect your responsibilities, because I guess that's what they are. With great power comes great responsibility, and hey, you're gonna have some responsibility. So in the space of stamina, now this is interesting. This is really interesting because I personally would not put this with stamina, but this is where it came out. So we have the Shining Flame. Yeah, the Shining Flame, Knight of Wands, the Shining Quarry, Knight of Pentacles. And are they looking in the same direction? They are. No, they're looking in different directions. Ooh. They looking in different directions. You see that? Knight of Wands is looking forward. Knight of Pentacles is looking back. But the Knight of Pentacles is looking back on this Ace of Swords. And so, like I said, I feel like, that's the importance to stay focused on what actually matters. Ace of Swords, Sacred Cinnabar, the Shining Flame. Um, and this is the space of stamina, right? I immediately want to go look for the Knight of Cups. So I'm going to do that. And I believe I've seen it, but maybe not, actually. And I'll tell you why I want to go looking for the Knight of Cups. I don't necessarily have to explain everything I do. That's one thing I need to learn to stop doing, is always trying to explain why I do everything that I do. But I'm looking for the Knight of Cups because I feel like That's what's going to really balance. Did the Knight of Cups already come out? No, maybe it didn't. What if it did and I just don't remember? No, it didn't. I would remember. Well, where is it then? Hello? Oh, here it is. I was like, excuse me? Where is this card? Um, that better be the Eight of Wands then. Shoot. So we have the Archangel Commander, King of Swords, and the Two of Swords around this Knight of Cups. That's 3 swords around them. Oh, now we have the swords coming in. It was nothing but wands, and now we have the Ace of Swords into the King of Swords and the Two of Swords. And the reason why I went looking for the Knight of Cups, I already forgot. But they're looking in the same direction. Okay, nice. Confirmation. Similar stances, right? The Knight of Cups is the only unicorn in the deck. You know, it is the twin to the Death of Horse. The Death of Horse. The Horse of Death. So now we have 3 knights here and a king. 3 knights, a king, and 3 swords. I went looking for the Knight of Cups because I feel like the Knight of Cups, maybe it's their spiritual connection. I can't remember why I went looking for the Knight of Cups. I should have just said it, but maybe it's not for me to explain. I think it's that. So the Knight of Wands is someone, and this speaks to stamina. Okay, yeah, okay. So we have the Knight of Wands and the Ace of Swords. I might read the I Ching first. No, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I'm starting to get lost a little bit. So we're gonna ride my train of thought until I approach wherever I'm supposed to approach, right? So the Shining Flame and the Sacred Cinnabar. The Sacred Cinnabar and the Sacred Flame are the only 2 aces that are sacred. The Ace of Pentacles is the bread of life, and the Ace of Cups is the holy water. But we have the Sacred Cinnabar and the Sacred Flame. We already had the Sacred Flame coming out in the same position, which is the left, as the Sacred Cinnabar. The Ace of Swords is all about a truth that closely matches the truth. It's a greater truth, right? And we have 3 knights right here in this section. And I did see the Knight of Swords, but I didn't pull it. Right? Excuse me. The King of Swords is here. Okay, that's nice. So when it comes to the Suit of Swords, I feel like the Page of Swords is someone who has someone who is granted clarity in a situation. I think the Knight of Swords is someone who has a truth and they move forward with that truth. But when it comes to the King and the Queen, I feel like the truth that they have is closer to the truth. Now, there's a difference between a truth and the truth. And this Ace of Swords is the truth. And this Knight of Pentacles, it's heading in the same direction as the Knight of Wands, but he's keeping his eye on the Sacred Cinnabar. Ace of Swords keeping his eye on the truth. Now, when it comes to stamina, I feel like this is more so. We're starting out by reinforcing everything from the past one, which is fine because with the last one, we reinforced everything from the first one, which was the warning. There's lots of warning here of not getting swept up in everything and of staying true to the self. And that's what this empowerment is all about, staying true to the self, right? Excuse me. But I feel like this is a sort of balance in between the two. And now I'm starting to get tired. So it's almost time to wrap this up. And I still got half an hour. Nice. And I'm almost done, which is even better. So there's a balance between moving forward with our desires and the truth. Right? Okay. So there's a modification to the way the law of attraction is beginning to work. It's like it's not, but it is. So a lot of times with the law of attraction, it's like, we want something, we align our desire, or we align with the getting of it, and then we get it, right? I feel like that's a very Knight of Wands way to go about the law of attraction. But with the Ace of Swords way to go about the law of attraction incorporates an understanding that maybe we're already learning, where it's not always about what we want, first of all, but also it's about understanding that sometimes the things that we want come with a suite of other things. Now, there were a lot of people who bought into the fad, and I ain't been on YouTube that long myself personally, but I've watched people who have been on YouTube a lot longer than me, and in the spiritual community a lot longer than me, and like it was like all of a sudden now everyone's talking about twin flames, right? But it's almost like when a lot of people decided to go on that journey, they didn't know what it entailed. For lack of, they didn't know what it entailed. And so when you're manifesting that, you're manifesting a whole lot of stuff on the back end that you may not even be aware of, but it's all a part of the package, right? And so I think that's more the Knight of Wands when you're just looking at the surface level desire. But I feel like this Ace of Swords, Sacred Cinnabar, is sort of bringing a realization of what the things that we're seeking entails and what will be required for us to truly claim it, right? And so maybe like the Knight of Wands, the Shining Flame is the initial desire. It's the initial creative spark. And then we come into this Knight of, or the Shining Quarry energy where we are carrying it forward. Okay, all right. So they're actually working in conjunction. Um, so we start with the Knight of Wands when we want something, right? Now, when the Knight of Wands begins to burn out because he's subject to burning out, he's a Knight of Wands, okay? He's not built to run marathons. He's the cardinal knight. The desire is what sparks everything. From the desire, then it becomes a thought, and then comes the emotional attachment, and then comes the sort of like the receiving of it, right? And so that's kind of sort of, at least for me, that follows the order at which the knights move. Knight of Wands is the fastest, Knight of Swords is right behind him, then the Knight of Cups, and then the Knight of Pentacles. First is the desire, then the thought, then the feeling, and then the realization. And so between the two of them, they kind of sort of encompass all of the knights. And so, I'm going to go ahead and pull the last knight. I just saw the Knight of Swords down here somewhere. Here he is right there. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. I love that. Okay. Okay. I love that. Glad I went to go look. I mean, because if it's the story, so it's all about fitting the story. And I don't just go pulling anything I want to pull. And even if I did, this is how I read. If you don't like it, leave. But I love this for sure. Oh wait. Okay, I still need to pull those up. Well, I don't have to show them. I already told y'all, right? So around the Knight of Cups came the Archangel Commander and the Two of Swords. Okay, I will show this one because in the Two of Swords, the blind seer. Excuse me. This Two of Swords is sitting right below this Ace of Swords. Is this card bent? Maybe not. This Two of Swords is sitting right below this Ace of Swords, and then you see the Eye of God up there, sort of watching everything. He's up there watching. So the Archangel Commander that I already showed, King of Swords, came out with the Two of Swords surrounding that Shining Dew Knight of Cups. I believe I showed all of them. I did, I'm pretty sure. So we have the desire, and then, but in this case, this is going to be us, because like it's not enough to want it when it comes like this is, it's a working progress. A working progression and a work in progress. And the Ace of Swords is, holding that truth in mind, right? That this isn't necessarily going to be, it's not always going to be instant manifestation. But it's also understanding that some things, it's like all things come with a price, right? Rumple. Oh, I watched that the other day and it made me cry. Rumpelstiltskin and Belle's last scene together in Once Upon a Time. I was like, why am I crying? And that was days ago. I was like, why am I crying? And then things happen, you know? And that might have been like right before Mercury slid into Cancer too. So, oof. Anyway, all things come with a price. And the price isn't necessarily always bad, but let's say it comes with a certain amount of work that has to be done, aka the journey, right? A lot of people want the story, but a lot of people don't want to do the work. But it's not only, I feel like that's only one example of us sort of manifesting something, not knowing everything that comes behind it, but then we come into this realization later. And that's why for some things, with this Knight of Wands, I feel like this may be us being pulled in these directions that we're feeling led to go in. Since we already talked about the Queen of Wands with the Ace of Wands, the Eight of Wands into the Four of Wands, this Knight of Wands is our egoic desires aligning with the higher desires, getting our ego and our higher selves on the same page. Because Chariot, that's the season we're coming into, it's all about having those on the same page and moving forward as a united front. So the ego comes in with the desire, it matches up with the light, with the higher side, we move forward. But when we're moving forward with this, again, this is an element of dedication with this shining quarry Knight of Pentacles. And that element of dedication, again, comes when with that sharpshooter. Remember, I was like, it may be a period of 8 days where you're diligently working and then you see no results. And then like 4 days of like things moving, 8 days of things not moving, 4 days of things moving, 8 days of things not moving, 4 days of things moving, at least until everything begins to move. And so I feel like, that speaks of in this in between time before everything begins to happen, there are still some things that we could be doing right now. And the more that we can do now, the better the place will be in. But all in its own time, not to rush anybody. But there are things that we can begin to move on now. And we don't have to wait for the big to begin to move on them. And I feel like that's what that Knight of Pentacles and that Ace of Swords is. It's sort of knowing that, certain situations are going to come with growth opportunities. And it's for us to show up in those opportunities of growth with our eye on the prize, knowing that we're getting closer to it. And again, I guess that was what I was talking about when I said, like we're manifesting these things. And as we manifest the things, we're also manifesting the opportunities to become worthy of the thing that we're manifesting. Because if we don't feel like we're worthy of it, we're going to sabotage it. And the Queen of Pentacles ain't come out nowhere. The Queen of Pentacles is still with the King of Pentacles, and they came out before everything came out when I was like, oh my gosh, the King and the Queen of Pentacles are together. So we already saw her. She with her man. Okay, we're going to leave them alone. They're going to stay in the deck. The Knight of Pentacles is right here, though. And it was the Three of Pentacles, the King and the Queen of Pentacles, and then the Knight of Pentacles came out because I was like, well, here's their baby. Here's the Knight, right? He's hard at work. Mama and daddy are kicking back, chilling, relaxing. Now it's this generation's time to step up and to move it forward. And it's interesting I said that because I made a post on my personal social media talking about how, there's certain amounts of foolishness I'm just not going to tolerate anymore. And then somebody replied and they were like, wow, I thought like 50 years ago, I thought that my generation, like I thought we had this in the bag, and now here I am 50 years later, and like some of the stuff we're still dealing with. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I got a feeling, because I was like, I got a feeling that, a lot of things are being highlighted and illuminated right now for us to change. Like I said earlier, like the ride has stopped. We get to, update it or shut it down and just get a new ride. Whatever we decide to do, everything has stopped. We have an opportunity to do it. And she was like, yeah, my son is saying the same, but I guess I'm just disappointed in my generation. And I don't know what to say to that because I'm like, So mom and pop, they're chilling right now. It's the new generation's turn to come in and to do things. Talking about waves, talking about a lot of things, right? And it's going to be easier for some folks because it's like it's interesting, but I guess it makes sense. But it's interesting because we started with the fixed energy. And again, I'm not getting into everything because I don't know everything, but from what I've observed, from the information that I've gathered about the waves, and if you don't know what the waves are, I'm about to say what I need to say. And if you still don't know, go look it up. Um, but it's like, we started with heavy fixed energy with the indigos, with the people who came down, some rebels without a cause, but people who knew that systems were broken and it was time to fix it. And so they're rebelling all over the place, right? And you come with like the strong fixed energy. And then you have this wave of more mutable energies, right? And like I said, I don't even know the waves, but I'm gonna call them crystals. I'm gonna call them the crystals. They could be something else. So you have the fixed indigos, and then you have the mutable crystals that come in, and they have these indigo qualities. Where, and again, this is just things that I picked up on in my whatever, because I've been doing a whole lot of whatever, and then it all just comes down to me. I don't have to explain myself. I'm sorry. I'm like, I literally just said I'm gonna stop doing that. So you have these fixed energy indigos that come in that are super fixed, and they're fixed, and it's like a Uranus fixed. And Uranus is Aquarius, so it's fixed. Perfect. Because it comes in and it radicalizes things and it changes things, but they're sort of fixed in that radicalized energy, right? Which may not necessarily be, I feel like, especially for the ones who never quite found a cause to get behind, who are kind of sort of still stuck in that rebel without a cause energy. It's like, if you never find a cause, sometimes it's like, okay, like you don't have to fight that hard anymore. Like your role has sort of transitioned, your role has shifted, like things have, like the plan has proceeded, like we do things differently now. Then you have these mutable crystals that come in that have indigo properties of like rebelling, but also have these more harmonic properties where they're not always rebelling. And so they're like, there may be certain instances where it's like, okay, this is wrong. This needs to be changed. I'm going to rebel here. Here, I'm going to take a stand here. But then in these other situations, it's like, okay, well, like these aren't necessarily whatever. Like you don't always have to rebel just for the sake of rebelling, but there are times when you do. And I feel like that's sort of that mutable crystal energy. And then you get these rainbows coming in that are the cardinals that are just like creating everything new, right? But that's sort of the progression that we work through. We start off super radical to bust up everything. And you would think, oh, so the indigos are the cardinals. Like, no, the indigos are the fixed. They're the fixed because it's like you need a fixed energy to combat a fixed energy, right? And then as the fixed energy busts up that energy, then you need a mutable for a mutable, right? Because now the foundation is busted up, you need someone who can sort of peer into the cracks of the foundation and see what needs to be changed and then react accordingly. And then as they begin to soften that earth that was all dry and crusty, when it becomes like when they soften it enough and then they give it the water and it becomes soil that you can actually, it's just like irrigating a plot of land. Once the soil is ready, then you send in the cardinals for the cardinal phase where they then bring on something new and they bring something forward. And I guess I kind of sort of have three layers here. So would the indigos be the Knights of Wands, Ace of Swords? The crystals would be the Archangel Commanders, Two of Swords, and then the rainbows would be, I mean, so what came out around this Knight of Swords is the Ten of Cups. What is this? The joyous one. We have the Shining Winds, Knight of Swords, and then the Eminence, Knight of Pentacles. So, I mean, like, that's when I was like, ooh. But all of this is, again, it starts with us being happy within ourselves. Because we need to show up to everything that we do as our unique, authentic selves and as a complete whole. I personally feel like it's okay to depend on someone in areas that that you can depend on them in, because it's like, why have someone that you can depend on and rely on if you never utilize them as such, right? Like, why have a partnership where like you don't utilize that partnership. Like, you might as well be single and just be friends if you're not. Never mind. I personally feel like there's a difference between depending and relying on someone and being overly dependent and overly reliant upon someone. But I feel like, that's the way that they sort of balance each other out. And I literally just realized that the shining flame and the shining winds both look in the same direction. Oop. Well, the shining flame is on the floor now. So, oof, where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, where did it go? Oh, here it is. Is it in reverse? Yep, it's in reverse. I picked it up in reverse. They're both looking in the same direction. Just like the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Orbs were looking in the same direction. So that's interesting. Um, but yeah, I guess reading down this, it's like the desire is only the first step. But it's going to be, ooh, 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 ooh. Girl, don't leave the website. Hello? I'm still alive. It's knowing and understanding that sometimes, be careful what you wish for, because it might come with a lot more regulations and stipulations than you bargained for. And then it's kind of sort of like, once you're on the ride, you're on the ride. So, oof. But when this eclipse comes, there may be an opportunity for people to get off of the ride to then pursue other things. Just like there's going to be an opportunity. It's like, because the game is going to change. We're going to be moving into the next phase of whatever. Right. And so people are going to be able to decide if they want to get off or if they want to continue forward. No, I'm going to say that this ain't for the people who get off, because I ain't pulling no more cards. I don't know. This is all before that. But then moving down here to the Knight of Cups. And I feel like I went for the Knight of Cups because the Knight of Cups has that spiritual understanding. Because the Knight of Cups, it still has the feeling. The feeling of the Knight of Cups echoes the desire of the Knight of Wands, but the connection with the Knight of Cups speaks to that Ace of Swords, where it's like, you have the desire, but you also have this feeling, this intuitive guidance that you will then use to kind of sort of stay the path and to navigate the path accordingly. Where the Knight of Wands might burn out, the Knight of Cups can embody the Knight of Pentacles energy when it has that connection to know that it's still going. But it still comes with a decision, because that's what that's what both of these speak to. But this is saying you're choosing to fight, right? You're choosing to continue down the path instead of being stuck and doing something else. And that's what the Eye of God is sort of like looking down on. It's looking down on those who choose to rise to the occasion. And then, I guess, out of those who choose to rise to the occasion, since both of these are swords, what does he bring through the element of air? He brings this 9 of Pentacles and this 10 of Cups. So that's the reward. 10 Cups, 9 Pentacles. Right? So I feel like the 10 of Cups involves somebody else, but the 9 of Pentacles is like you. Like, that's you being solid on your own and then having all this fulfillment in addition. And I'm going to read the I Ching. I never even read the I Ching for this. Because I'm just like, ooh, what is this? I hope that made sense. If it didn't, then it didn't. So this is fire and heaven. This is fire over heaven. Oof, now the heavens are on fire. You know what that means to me? That means somebody is up there. Ooh, I love this. I love this. Accolades. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said it like that. This is 14 accolades. Okay, so this is the rewards. Congratulations, you won. Let me make sure. Upper trigram is fire. Lower trigram is heaven. Nice. So we get accolades coming in. Accolades, great praise, gains, and validation. This is Dio. Dio. And there's that Da. See, Da is something great. Da is something big. You see that? Dio. That's the Da. So, hey, I already forgot what the dream said. It says, prognostications of a great harvest.
Heaven bestows great blessings when you have obeyed the will of the divine. Initiations will not incur any challenges. Be humble and grateful for your blessings, and there should be no guilt in receiving such blessings. There should be no guilt in receiving such blessings. You would not be blessed this way if you were not worthy of these blessings. You are always free to forfeit them, and you are always free to not claim them, and you are always free to not receive. But you've already done the work. Why would you refuse your paycheck? You've already done the work. Okay, anyway. Be humble and grateful for your blessings, and there should be no guilt in receiving such blessings. You have the resources needed to achieve supreme success and prosperity. To thrive, follow your own path, and most important of all, let others follow theirs. Follow yours, let others follow theirs. So I guess I'm gonna stop ragging on y'all. But, at the same time, I just feel like, like if you've already come this far, why would you stop now? If you've already done the work, why would you not claim your prize? Like, you know what I mean? So forgive me if I'm a little excited. And here's that Eight of Wands. Here's that Eight of Wands. Here's the Eight of Wands I was looking for. Now, it would have been crazy if it had come out in the pile that, I was looking for it in. But this is the thunder over the fire I was talking about. Like, thunder comes in and strikes this wand and lights it on fire. And then here's the Eight of Wands. Like, everything can change so quickly. When you believe in miracles, miraculous things happen. And empowerment, like we have the Fool, the Star, and the Eight of Wands. Like, I love this. I love this. Okay, I believe it's like 8:30. I've said everything I need to say. So I'm gonna let y'all go. This is amazing energy. This is wonderful energy. I love it. I'm actually gonna get one final message from all the decks because that's how I love to do things over here. Just as a way to clear out whatever I just did, number one, and to see if there's anything like sort of left to say, number two. So I'm gonna give this a few shuffles and then put it down. But yeah, that's gorgeous. That's amazing. That's beautiful. That's literally, I feel like, a lot of what I've been saying for the past months. But it's really harking back to that sort of like the thing with the scales. And I guess man, I would hate for people to not claim, ooh, the Moon and the Lover is at the cut. Ooh, 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 ooh. Necromancer in this deck. The Necromancer and the Lover. So maybe bringing some old love back to, oh my gosh, and then with the Six of what? Or the Six of Orbs, the Giver. I see you. For my person out there, if I got a person, and you know who you is if I got you, because I make sure you know. You probably feel me, or you felt me. I'm just like ready, man. I'm just ready. And personally, whatever like reconciliation needs to happen or whatever conversations need to happen, Six of Swords and the Three of Cups, like I'd rather us get this reconciliation now so we can begin to move before everything starts to happen, because there are things that we can do now to be in position later. And oh well, here, see, I know you may be in this Nine of Swords state, but have the strength to get out of it. Come on, these cards are helping me. It's like, I don't want to seem like I'm uncaring or whatever, but I felt a lot of this before it ever happened. And I was prepared in a lot of ways before I was in the situation. And every time I felt things on my side before they were kind of sort of known. So there have been times when things have been highlighted to me, and of course, I didn't say anything because it's not that I'm keeping secrets, but it's just like, not everything needs to be said. There's the Ace of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. And I'm gonna stop shuffling this deck and then shuffle another one because I need to shuffle all of these. But there were things that were revealed to me
like right before they were revealed to me. It would like come to me and then it would be confirmed. And I'd be like, okay, so this is the reason why it's so important for me to have patience. And this is the reason why it's so important for me to be understanding. And this is the reason why it's so important for me to be more kind and compassionate and caring than I am irritated, agitated, frustrated, or impatient. And I had a dream right before everything started and got crazy. And I only said a part of the dream because I didn't think that it would be necessary to tell the full dream. But in the dream I had, like, I was approached by this person and they're like, okay, like I'm ready. Like I'm ready to do this and I'm excited. And I was like, whoa, like, what are you talking about? You are not ready for this. You're not ready for this. Like, look at what you literally just said. Like, there is so much that you still want to do for yourself, so much that you're still discovering in yourself, and so much that you need to be able to experience before you're truly ready for something like this. Because I feel like it's more important for you to see these things about you before you entangle yourself with someone else. Right. But of course, I didn't say that last part. I was just like, I had a dream that, we were talking about this, and then, this is everything that happened in the past, how I felt you before I even met you, and everything that was kind of sort of going on. And then you came into my life at this point, and then I came into your life at the point I came into your life, and how everything just kind of sort of seems to work so effortlessly and smoothly and synchronistically, and how like low key you read my mind. But also at the same time, kind of sort of low key, like that was the beginning of the connection before I even knew what it was. So now in hindsight, I shouldn't be surprised that every time I kind of sort of like put out a feeler, or not a feeler, but every time I sort of like reach out, that person gets it, because literally reading my mind at one point, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's kind of weird. Not weird, it's just like crazy. Like, are you really doing this? Because like, to be fair, like to be honest, I feel like I don't have the same capability. Like I feel like more of the transmitter than a receiver. And and it's not like I can't receive it all, because sometimes I do, but I feel like I don't necessarily do it as well as I transmit. uh, but like a lot of the frustration that I had, like the frustration was genuine. A lot of the other things were genuine. I feel like in hindsight, I'm kind of sort of minimizing what I was feeling in the moment. But at the same time, I knew that it was coming and I expected it, because I loved the season for what it was. But part of me knew that it was premature. Um, so, but I mean, I guess I say all of that to say that I don't even know if that person watches me. I feel like I like to think that they do, but I don't know if they actually do or not. Oh, Nine of Pentacles at the bottom of this deck, and the Queen of Swords at the bottom of this one. Um, Hold on, wait. Let me send him a message. One second. Okay. Yeah, let me wrap this up real quick. That was a wrapping up noise. And again, like I don't. What is this? This card literally just came out. Who are you? Higher perspective. No. Okay, now it's on the floor. No, I caught it. Now it's in reverse. Higher perspective, number 21. Higher perspective is the cosmos, awakening, and unity. Um, I mean, honestly, it's like, well, there's a lot of things that it kind of sort of blows my mind, honestly. But to hear, and it's been the case, and I guess for me specifically, and I'll try to speak specifically, but non-specifically. It's been the case that there have been times, like I said, it's like I put out these feelers and I don't always consciously do it. It's like I could be watching or thinking or just doing whatever I'm doing. And then there would be like, because there are times when I can like almost feel that person like in the beginning before I said anything, like I would literally feel that person with me. That was loud. Ooh, Galactic Guidance just came out with releasing on the bottom of the deck, so maybe it's important for me to release everything that I'm releasing now. But there were times very, very early on before I allowed myself, because I kind of sort of, something about this person was always different to me, and I was always like more drawn to this. Like there have been people that I've been drawn to in the past, so it wasn't too weird or different or whatever. Um, Emotional freedom at the bottom of the deck, nice. So we got the Queen of Swords, the Nine of Pentacles, and emotional freedom. So if you was stuck in a Nine of Swords state, the Queen is here to be like you are free if you choose to be. Um, where am I going with this? Something about this person was different. And something about this person called to truths within me that I had long buried and kind of sort of forgot about. Um, whoa! How did the Seeker, I must have accidentally put her in here. The Seeker popped over into this deck and it's sitting with the Pride card. Seeking life, seeking healing, seeking sunlight, seeking nature, seeking serenity, and seeking spirit. Seeking all of that. Man, the Secret has been in this deck. See, this is why it's important for me to count the cards. Because I got cards just chilling in other decks. And it happened before with the Seven of Wands. I'm like, I didn't even realize this card was missing. But if I needed it for the reading, it would have been there. Okay? So don't come for me. I mean, if you do, I don't care. But anyway, anyways. So I felt the person coming before. When I was starting to get to know the person, they called to things within me that I had left dormant, which led to awakenings within me. And then at around the same time that I was awakening to that, I would begin to like feel that person. And I'm like, this is weird, but I like literally feel you. And of course, in the beginning, I didn't tell the person that because I was like, it may not be that person. It might not be that person. It could be somebody else. I don't believe it is someone else, but that's what I was like in the beginning. I was like, it could be somebody else. And then I was also annoyed at some other things in the beginning because it's like a to B to B to C thing. Like I'm A to B, but B is going to C, and I'm like, well, maybe B is supposed to be with C, and I'm just a little weirdo over here. I didn't know what was happening, but then anyway, there would be points where I would like literally feel that person, like I would want. But it'd be so weird because I wouldn't consciously do it, but it's like I would just like feel that person, and then the person would be like, oh my gosh, like I just felt this. But for me, that was just like more confirmation of like, I'm experiencing this with you, but you're experiencing this with someone else. So I don't know, like, I don't know. And like, I'm the type of person where like, I'm pretty much, here's the Nine of Swords. Here's the Nine of Swords. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Swords. That's 10 swords, y'all. But this is a clarity to let everything else go. I'm really just like talking. Anyway. There's the Wheel of Fortune at the cut. Okay, now I'm going to be getting I'll put these down and I'll finish. I'll wrap this up real quick. Anyway, long story short, I don't know what I'm talking about, but for me in particular, I kind of sort of found the feelings before I found the titles and the labels. And so that's why I've always kind of sort of had my own interpretation of what the whole journey means and what it would be for me. because I was entering at a phase or at an like my entry point to it, like I had already done a lot of the healing that I needed to do within myself. Everything else that I needed to do kind of sort of had to be sort of mirrored. But at least from my perspective, it was never mirrored in a negative way. It was never mirrored in a bad way. And honestly, it kind of didn't feel like I feel like there were a lot of things that we have in common, and then we also have our differences. And I feel like at our core, we're very similar, but we also kind of sort of go about the way that we do things in a different way. Again, like we're similar, but we go about things in a different way sometimes. But I feel like sometimes we just kind of sort of like naturally began to gain the strengths of the other person. And so it was like we were mirroring maybe our better qualities to each other and really growing off of that instead of like being these dark mirrors that, treat you like crap because you treat yourself like crap. 'Cause if that would have been the case, and maybe that's just who I am as a person, but if that would have been my experience, I would have walked away and I never would have come back because I don't tolerate that. But at the same time, I did enough healing, I guess, that I didn't need it. And, but yeah, I don't know. I guess all things happen in their own time. I don't want to rush anybody, but personally, like, there are a lot of people that I've forgiven, but I almost feel like I don't. Like, in some ways, I do. And of course, like, I've healed from a lot of the initial hurt, if not all of it, kind of. Um, but it's like I understand so much of not only why everything that happened needed to happen, but like where that person was again, because it was kind of sort of shown to me. Like I felt it because I'm like intuitive and I have empathic tendencies and capabilities. And I'm also kind of sort of claircognizant, where it's like some things I just know. And so there were some things that I felt and some things that I just knew, and then it would be confirmed later. And so it's like, I mean, I saw this coming. Like this was an inevitability. This was like the way we, like the way everything happened was literally inevitable. And I knew that from months ago. Literally from, I mean, I never said anything, of course, because it's like, hey, um, but I knew it was going to happen. I didn't know how it would happen particularly, but the situation or the circumstances that led up to the final whatever, like I knew that that was going to happen the way it happened. Um, some of the other things I had a suspicion that they would happen because of the timing, and sometimes or not too much lately, but in the beginning I was like, why did all of this happen just for it to all be undone? And sometimes I'll be like if we would have not ever gone there or had never had that conversation, then what would like right now be like? But honestly, for me, that relationship was so important for me reaching the place that I reached right now. Because even though I was a little, I mean, there were feelings on both sides, honestly. And it was like the timing for everything was so perfect that I'm like, okay, like this is obviously divine timing because everything is happening at the same time. And then that happened before everything else happened. And like I said, when I did seasons and cycles, like I literally cannot imagine what this time would have been like in this season if that relationship were still there. And like there are quite a few people that I don't really talk to anymore. Quite a few. um, and some people like I don't know. I don't even talk about because I feel like a lot of times I talk about like the better people. Like I always talk about Nathan, and I feel like that's pretty much all I talk about, right? Nathan, Nathan, Nathan. But anyway, um, like when everything started happening at the same time, I was like, and especially like it was a few days later, I was like, wow, all of that happened at the same time. It's almost like how we fell apart was just as destined as how we came together. But that perspective, along with all of the love that I had and still have for that person, like I said earlier, it's like in order for me to truly value, or in order for me to truly honor and give that season of my life the respect it deserves, I need to heal from that in every single way that that was highlighted and illuminated to me. And because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, if I don't learn from that, then it's almost like it happened for no reason. And I refused to let that happen for no reason. It's like there's way too much feeling and emotion involved, way too much love in the situation for me to allow that to happen for no reason. And then the card last message just came out, and it's the Two of Pentacles with the Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck. I'm not going to take that, but that's, you know, that was a way for me to sort of see the better in a bitter situation and to balance that heartache and to turn it into something that, I mean, to transmute it, honestly. And I feel like I've done a pretty bang up job. I feel like I've done a good job. I feel like I've done an amazing job, honestly. Like, I feel like I'm just amazing. um, but yeah, I did a really, really good job with that. And of course, you know, it happened in waves. The understanding happened in waves, it happened in levels, it happened and evolved over time. Um, but I don't know. Oh, no, I'm going to take you because the Empress came out. I almost put it back. So this is the card that was sticking up, the Two of Wands. At the bottom of the deck is the Nine of Wands. The nine. So the Nine of Wands sort of speaks to nearing the end of a difficult sort of situation. But she's standing pretty victoriously in this card, even though their arm is in a sling. There's like I still made it through that. This deck, it speaks to two aspects, two people who have the same idea, but who kind of sort of reach a diverging point where like they have the same idea, but it's kind of sort of going to be taken out or carried out in a few different ways. We have the Empress, the Hierophant, the Tower, and the Strength card. Four majors. What? The Empress, the Messenger, which is the Hierophant, the Tower, and Strength. And then we have this Two of Wands here. So it's almost like with the Empress and the Messenger, with the Empress and the Hierophant energy, the Empress speaks to creativity and the divine feminine power. It speaks to the ability to birth, to give birth, but not only to give birth, but to carry something and to nourish something internally. The Messenger speaks to an ability to do that nurturing on every level or on multiple planes, on the physical plane, the mental astral plane, and the institutional plane. Right? This is nurturing in every sense of the word nurturing. And then we have this Tower moment. Right? Now, the Tower just speaks to a change in the foundation. And so we have nurturing on every level, and then we have a change in foundation. So this could be a foundational change on every level as well: physical, mental, astral, and institutional. And then we end up with the Strength card. And I love that Orca in the back. But we end up with the Strength card. And so the Strength card is the ability to like literally pick up the pieces after this tower has fallen, with the realization that, you know, it fell for a reason. with the Nine of Wands. You know, it may have been a little difficult, but we still got more fight left in us. This ain't where we stop. Or is it? I don't know. I mean, it's a choice. It's all about choices. That's what the Two of Wands is saying. I mean, you got to choose to continue to fight. Both people have to come to a consensus individually, too. It's an individual consensus because the Two of Wands, they already split apart. But they got to decide to come back together. Now I'm going to get the final Oracle card. Oof, I got 10 minutes. I didn't necessarily expect this, but I guess, I did say it's all about sharing and being authentic and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing. Bottom of the deck is isolation, number 25. Loneliness, reconnection, and home. And then we have exploration, which is number 15. Boldness, unknown, and limitless. And I feel like this is kind of sort of perfect after the Two of Wands, Empress, Hierophant, Tower, and Strength, picking up the pieces afterwards. Like we have isolation on the bottom of the deck, which could be related to that Tower moment. But then here we have exploration, which speaks to the strength to navigate this kind of sort of unknown space where, it could be navigating a sort of portion of the dynamic that's never been entered before. And so it's almost like maybe you've never interacted with this person in a certain way. You've never engaged with them in a certain way. You don't know how they'll respond or react because, especially to you, but maybe you just don't know. And that's sort of the unknown factor, but it's for you to be bold in it because, no risk, no reward. You got to risk it if you want the biscuit. And spiritually, nothing's going to come without risk. All of this is to sort of get us to heal, to go beyond our comfort zones, because that's where true fulfillment and all of that awaits. Right? If it was all going to happen at home, like you kind of sort of already have it, low key. But yeah, the whole thing has been interesting, I guess, for me. And I guess like the wildest part to me would always be to like feel a feeling and then to have someone be like, oh my gosh, like you'll never believe like what just happened. And of course a lot of times I would never say anything. I don't think I've ever really said anything, but it would always have like the confirmation would always come after I felt it. And it's like it's things that I wouldn't even consciously like do. It's just like all of a sudden I can like feel this with this person. And then they're telling me how they felt it. And I'm just like silent, of course, because it's an A to B to C. It's an A to B, B to C type of situation. And so I'm just like, well, maybe I'm wrong. Even though, I don't know. It was just interesting. So I don't know. Hermit and the Devil coming out at the cut. Oof. See, if you stay in this hermit mode and you got these devils whispering in your ear, just come home and get the clarity. Some situations we just got to face, right? Our anxiety and our fears and our worries and our depression and everything else will keep telling us a certain story. And sometimes with this star card and with the death card, sometimes we just got to go seek out the information ourselves, regardless of how it plays out. Maybe your fears and your anxieties and your worries will be true. Maybe they won't be. That's the strength that is required, right? It's like it's not much of a test if you already have the answers. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where I end up. All right, give me a final card. Final message. Last message. Last message. Final quads. Final quads. Last messages. One last one. If you don't give me one in 3 of them, I'll just pick. And 2 more. 1 more, and I'm just going to choose. Okay, it didn't work this time. Usually I'm like, I'm going to give this 3 more, and then the card falls out. So I'll just pick this card right here. Oh, 6 of Cups. Love it. Bottom of the deck is the 3 of Wands. the Three of Wands, and I feel like this illustrates everything I was just talking about, at least for me and my journey in particular. I personally feel like everything that I was and I've talked about this before, but I feel like everything that I was contractually obligated, soul contract, soul contractually obligated to do with this person, I feel like I've already done. And I feel like everything moving forward is choice. Because I feel like a contract speaks to some. Okay. Wow. Yeah, just. Oh my gosh. My music just decided to randomly play. And it was quite loud. I forgot it was even paused. Um, I feel like a contract speaks to something that's binding. And so I almost feel it as more of an agreement type of energy, or it's a recognition. I don't know. So for me personally, it doesn't feel like it's contracted. It feels like something that we have to choose at this point. And it feels like something that we have to rise to at the same time. Just like there have been ways that I've had to continue to grow. I feel like the same could be true for the other. Ooh, yes. These cards, though, at the cut. Uh, I don't know. I just wish that, like, oh, we could talk. That'd be cool. You know, I had a dream about this person the other day, and I didn't really talk about it. Ooh, Justice and the Five of Orbs. But I had a dream that I was like thinking about that person or something. And then I guess I got a FaceTime call or I accidentally FaceTimed. Either or, it doesn't matter. And all I know, like I was on the computer doing something, and then I looked down at my phone and it's like FaceTime. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even like realize that this had called. And they're like, yeah, like what's up? And I was like, oh my gosh, like it's been a while. Like, how have you been? And at first it was just like the top of that person's head. And then they like came onto the camera and their face was like really swollen. It was really bad. And it hurt a lot. And I think I actually cried because I don't know, just seeing that person hurt, it always does something to me. Uh, so at the end, I kind of heard it. I kind of had to be strong a little bit and be like, you got it. Like, it's time. Ooh, what's that card? What is that? The Wheel of Fortune! Woo-hoo! Taking it. Things are turning, baby. Bottom of the deck is the joined one. Two of Cups with the Wheel of Fortune. But the person was like beat up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what happened? And they told me what happened. And I'm just like, this isn't what anybody in this situation wants. And I guess I can understand you feeling like you deserve it. But I don't want this. I don't want you to want this. And I don't think anybody wants this. And I guess that's why I'd rather just like talk about it myself. But at the same time, I also know that there isn't anything that I can do in this situation. And it's not for me to do anything because I've already made my decision and I've already made my choices. And I've decided to stick by them. And um, it's not my role in the situation to uh, do things, right? Because another part of this is growth, right? I've grown in the ways that I need to grow, and this other person needs to grow in some ways too. And sometimes growth
requires us to do things that we're afraid of. Sometimes it requires us to do things that we never thought we'd do. But after we do them, it shows us how strong and how different we actually are. So it's beautiful. All right, I'm going to shut this down here now. If I knew how to edit videos, I would probably cut off the last end. But since the Queen of Wands and the King of Cups came out, this is my authentic story. And again, I could always be wrong. Take it as it resonates. Do what you do with this information. It may not be for you. It might be for you. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I'll catch y'all later. Probably wearing another shirt next time because it's been long enough. I can change my shirt. I do change my underwear, you know. The most important bits I change. But it's like if I ain't going nowhere, why am I just going to dirty up clothes? Right? I could do laundry. Well, I guess I still wash my underwear, but I have a lot of underwear. And less shirts. Anyway, this ain't about me and my clothing. So I'm gonna catch y'all later. I hope this finds you. What do I say now? I hope you have whatever time you wish to have, and I hope you act in alignment with getting you to having that time. And it's my hope for anyone who comes across this that the things you can begin to do now to get peace and clarity and healing and to further you along your path, like the things that you can do now, I hope you begin to do them. And I hope you don't wait. And I hope you don't self-sabotage. And I hope you don't think that you're unworthy or whatever else would get you to kind of sort of forfeit all of the things that you've already worked for. Like if I do the work, I'm going to get paid. And I guess that's just my philosophy because I've already done the work, right? And it's like the payment is a reward. Like no one wants you to be miserable, I guess. And so if you're offering me some happiness and joy and fulfillment, then yeah, I'm going to take it because I worked for it. All right. Well, anyway, I'll catch y'all later. Maybe tomorrow, maybe now, I don't know. Whenever I feel the call to go live, I'll be here. Hopefully, I'll be uploading a pre-recorded video or like I'll come live here fairly soon and it'll look a little different, hopefully, but you know, we'll see because, you know, the world. Bye.